Chapter 125. With greediness overflowing out of her eyes, Victoria reached out at the skeleton. The others were too late to react or stop Victoria, they could only watch her from behind. However, just as her hand was a couple of inches away from the skeleton, an unearthly humming came from the skeleton, and the next moment, a sudden force blasted Victoria back. "One person, one bone," a loud yet calm voice echoed through the cave. Many became flabbergasted, looking around the cave to locate the voice, but Michael could somehow sense the voice belonged to the fusion stage cultivator. After flying, or rather stumbling back a few meters, Victoria quickly regained her composure, but not before baring her teeth looking at the skeleton. She obviously avoided making eye contact with others, especially with Ghost, who was ready to laugh at her misfortune. "I think the cultivator only wants us to take only one bone each," Evan said, taking everyone's focus from Victoria. Michael inwardly rolled his eyes, looking at the tension between Evan and Victoria. It was not a tension of hostility, but rather the tension of affection. No shit, Sherlock, thought Michael. He was happy that he didn't lightning dash to the skeleton before anyone else, or he would have been thrown away instead of Victoria. He leaned on the wall and willed to activate the energy devourer, hoping to turn the pressure coming from the skeleton into experience points while these people could come to a decision. Unlike everyone else in this world, he was unable to cultivate through the usual means. He had to rely on the system to cultivate. Therefore, he did not have a choice other than using the system to earn experience points, which was the only way for him to level up. System level is too low to break the barrier around the skeleton. Level 4 energy devourer required to transform the fusion stage arch energy. His vision was blocked by these two notifications. Now that his plan to screw everyone before they dismantle the skeleton, he had to wait to either fight over the skeleton or someone to come up with a peaceful way to solve this problem. Although he was not on Earth, the anatomy of these cultivators was the same as the Earthlings. They had 206 bones in their bodies. Obviously, he knew they wouldn't resolve this peacefully, because if they agreed to take one bone, as the skeleton said, people like Victoria would aim for the biggest bones in the body, such as the skull or femur. Most of the cultivators in this world tend to be greedy and vengeful, which led to unnecessary wars and fights. Of course, Michael was not the one to talk about either of those, because he stole all the scrolls on the top shelf just a moment ago without leaving a single scroll to the others. "I'll take the skull." "Fuck you. I fought the ground terror, so I'll take the skull. I'll be the big man and take the spinal cord. You can have the skull." "Spinal cord? You dumb fucker. There are 42 individual bones in the spinal cord. Stupid fuckers. Where did you two learn anatomy? In the toilet? It's not 42, it's 33-inch. What did you call me?" As Michael expected, they began to bicker, ready to fight for a bone. Each of them looked like a Rottweiler in his eyes for a moment before Noah opened his mouth. "Shut up." Since Noah was one of the strongest in the room, the crowd quickly stopped bickering. "Alicia, how many of us are here?" 43. "Well, choose by chance," after he said. Alicia waved her hand as a quill and a paper appeared in her hand. "Is she writing the names of all the bones in the body?" Still leaning on the cave wall, he sighed. He wanted to get this over with and get out of the cave before it could collapse on them. After a few moments, with a flick of her wrist, she threw 206 small paper rolls on the ground in front of the skeleton. Each roll has a bone name written on it. Each takes one, and lets fate decide which bone one will get. "Don't worry. Well, pick last," Alicia said before someone questioned her and Noah. "But Dash, you have a better plan?" Even after Alicia explained, somebody raised a question, but that somebody was instantly shut by Noah. "Who would go first?" Evan asked as they all shared this same question. "I'll go first." They all heard the voice, turning their heads to see Michael finally decide to join them. He calmly walked towards the paper rolls. Most of them saw him killing 2 core formation beasts, had fear etched into their brain cells. Someone had to go first, and they did not protest him being that someone, because they admired him and most of all, they feared him. System, locate the femur, 1,000 badass points. Take it. He expected Victoria to be the bitch in the crowd, but surprisingly, she kept her mouth shut while he noticed a glimmer around one particular paper roll. He gently bent his back, trying not to wake up the sleepy dragon in his pocket. All the eyes in the cave were glued to Michael, wondering whether he would be blasted away like Victoria while many craned their necks to see which bone he would get. Alicia's enchantment kicked in when he picked the paper roll and projected the word femur in a large glistening word above him. Oh, come on. Lucky bastard. He got the baby dragon, now this, he's really lucky. All of them bore a surprised look on their faces. Many couldn't help but feel frustrations grow inside seeing he got the largest bone. With a small smile on his face, he made his way towards the skeleton. I'm gonna take only one, said as he put his hand on the skeleton's femur. Unlike before, there was no sudden blast of force. The femur came to his hand after making a crackling sound. His small smile grew into a medium grin, sensing the pure arch energy that was radiated by the femur in his hand. Although he might not be able to use this femur to level up, his snake friend certainly could. With his plans to grow the power of his base of operations as well as himself, he needed a loyal and powerful friend like Gaia. The stronger she grew, the more protection and help he would get. Now that he had gotten the femur, he swiftly stepped back from the skeleton, not trying anything funny. As far as he was concerned, he earned not only enough experience points to level up to body strengthening level 5, he also got the baby dragon, rare herbs, spell scrolls, contract of Aragoth, and the bone of a fusion stage cultivator while making fewer enemies. The Nether Realm had been kind to him until now, unlike it was to Noah, Maisie, or poor Abel. Most of them lost their friends, limbs, and lives after entering the Nether Realm except Michael. Thank you. Putting the femur in his storage ring, he gave a short nod at the skeleton. He ignored every greedy pair of eyes on him except one pair of eyes, Noah's. His calm, radiant black eyes stared at Michael with a ting of surprise hidden within. Michael felt something he couldn't describe. It was a new feeling that appeared and disappeared in a flash. His neck hair tingled, but he did not show his shock on his face as he walked away from the skeleton as well as the crowd towards the exit. Some rogue cultivators wanted to simply kill him and take the femur from him without trying their luck, but Michael's dealing with Aragoth made them stand still. They were not dumb enough to mess with an ally of Aragoth. His relationship with Sade prevented Hannah Berry from giving him a seductive smile while he was walking past her. Coupled with Sadie, he now had two powerful allies, Silvermoon and Aragoth. "I'll go next," Michael heard Evan's voice before he left through the crack. He was absolutely positive that they will soon fight again despite Noah's solution. At that time, he didn't want to be there. After leaving the inner parts of the cave, he slowed down his pace, scanning for any signs of the two remaining magical beasts. Luckily, his environment scanning detected no threats in the surrounding, which made him immediately use the lightning dash to disappear before they came looking for trouble. Eventually, when he was searching for another cave or treasure, he heard the howling sound of the wind on the horizon and looked up to see a bright beam of light emerge from the ground. Portal, he recognized the energy signature. It was the same energy signature as the portal everyone entered through into the Nether Realm. He felt relieved and excited to leave this place. He wanted to level up, expand his herbal garden, and most of all, he wanted to show the baby dragon to Gaia, just to see the look on her face. "She's going to freak the hell out, he chuckled under his breath. Despite being in the Guardian Guild, Noah still made a lot of enemies ever since he came to Nether Realm and lost a dear friend, but Michael earned allies, a servant who could summon netherals at his will. They both were two sides of the coin. They both walked entirely different paths. One wanted to reach the top of the food chain to save people while the other wanted to rule them. The Nether Realm was the starting place of the war between light and darkness. However, these two individuals were just two pawns in the game of superior beings, and Michael had just seen the glimpse of them when he tried to recruit the orc as his subordinate. End of Nether Realm arc. Expect a huge jump in Michael's power. Chapter 126. Seeing the gateway to getting out of this place excited Michael. Compared to everyone else, he was the real winner of this event despite the treasures disappearing after the Sky Garden. He was told by Gaia that each day a treasured place would appear, except it didn't. Lightning dash. Placing his hand on his chest pocket, he activated the speed spell, turning his body into a golden bolt of lightning. The people inside the cave were still unaware of this gateway and still fighting over the skeleton. "Hey Snake, are you there?" Michael willed the earpiece to connect to Gaia and asked, "Wait a minute. Move that aside, you dumb bastard. What the hell are you doing? Did I ask you to put that there?" She was screaming inside his head, making him almost switch off the earpiece. He could tell the snake is bossing around everyone, which she loved to do. "Hiya, human." After a few moments, Michael heard her voice. This time, there were no buzzing sounds of people working or Gaia screaming at somebody. "Hiya, snake, you seem happy without me," he said, Hiya chuckling. "Of course I am, and how are you still alive?" She teased him, trying to hide the delight in her heart of hearing his voice after so long. "Don't get used to it, I'm coming home." "Really?" There was an elevation in her voice, yet soon, she pretended not to be happy of him returning and continued to tease him. "Oh, so soon? Why don't you stay there a bit longer?" "The portal has already opened, you ungrateful snake. I'm currently heading out there to get the hell out of here." "Shit, hey!" she suddenly screamed again. "I'm gonna rip off your hands and attach them to your butt." "You should go. I can't hear you scream in my ears no more." "Yeah, you do that. I have to babysit these stupid bastards or they might put the meat in the sewers." She cut off the line while he continued to run towards the portal. He couldn't wait to see the renovation works as well as his new restaurant that Gaia was boasting about. If he wants to keep a healthy and respectable relationship with Aragoth and major powers in the Elon continent, he had to keep his base of operations presentable to people. The Sunrise sect he left was barely presentable as it could be looked at as a ruin. With these renovations, he hoped to receive a good amount of badass points every month, as the system said. 4 badass points, he got the Sunrise sect and the restaurant could provide him with a steady flow of gold coins. No matter which world he was in, the rich liked to spend their time and money in a place suited to their taste and status. His 2 henchmen Daniel and Ricky were currently handing out flyers and hiring bards to promote the new restaurant. Although he had only one competition worth noticing, he didn't hold off his gold coins but ordered Gaia to spend as much as she wants to promote their restaurant. Thinking about his new schedule, he took a deep breath. In the daytime, he needed to be at the Majestic making pills and potions for the Majestic, oversee the restaurant, and play with the baby dragon. In the nighttime, he had to terrorize the kingdom by killing criminals and such to keep the legend of Lucifer spread across the kingdom. However, after he leaves this place, he should lay low because killing Jane brought the frickin' church and attracted the king's notice, according to Gaia. He was running towards the light beam on the horizon for hours, but it felt like he was running on a treadmill, not getting closer to the light beam. Meanwhile, the baby dragon woke and clawed his chest to make him stop running. The golden bolt of lightning slowly faded away, revealing Michael. It began to sour him with wet kisses, rubbing its little head against his chin. "Alright, well, take a little break." Compared to everyone else in the body refining stage, he had triple the amount of arch energy in his body. Yet he was not an exception to getting tired of using all the arch energy in his body, for example using spells like Lightning Dash. In the daytime, powerful netherals rarely made an appearance, at least to his knowledge. During the nighttime, he did detect a bunch of core formation and even a few core strengthening netherals in his environmental scanning. Nonetheless, he knew even with the masking effect and stealthy approach, it would be impossible to hunt these powerful creatures. Having a system doesn't mean he should get into fights half-cocked. "Are you hungry again?" Sitting under the shade of a huge tree, he asked the baby dragon playfully. Those vertical slit pupils of the scaly creature instantly transformed themselves to those of a puppy looking at the juicy red slice of meat in Michael's hand. "Here you go," he said after throwing the piece of meat a few meters away from him. He didn't want to spoon-feed the baby dragon, spoiling the dragon. The baby dragon threw a little temper tantrum before hopping towards the piece of meat. "System, open the pet window again," he willed the system. Soon, the bluish interface filled his vision. Pet name, race, Forest Dragon Trust, 94% power, Arch Sensing Stage 1". I'll come up with a new name soon. In system, is there a way to change my dragon's race? This question sounded so stupid in his head. However, the system did boast that it could do anything given enough badass points. So why the heck not? System level is too low to answer the host's question. He sighed, seeing the grayish notification box in front of him. According to Ubras memories, this world seemed to have 4 dragon bloodlines: inferior dragon, forest dragon, grim dragon, and the noblest of them all, royal dragon. Rarity and power increased respectively from inferior dragon to royal dragon. The latter was rare to the point that only a handful of people in this world had seen them with their own eyes. If this was only rarity and power, Michael wouldn't have worried about the race much, but it was not. The inferior dragon could only reach the core strengthening stage, not one stage above. Forest dragon could reach one stage above them, the soul refining stage, except most of them would die of old age. Only the dragon with either royal or grim bloodline had the chance to step into the half-immortal or to the stages above them. According to Ubras memory, grim dragons were the cheeky, pervy ones who loved to kidnap princes and princesses just for fun. They also loved to hoard anything that shines in the light, and to expand their treasure hoard, they would usually terrorize a settlement, making them hand over the valuables to it. They were practically the bandits of the dragons. With no care of its bloodline, the baby dragon munched on the meat while occasionally letting out small burps. "I've been calling you baby dragon, what's your gender?" He wondered, trying to see if there's any genitalia in its body, yet after staring at the baby dragon for a couple of seconds, he sighed and let go of this unfruitful search. System version 2.0 Host, Michael Cultivation level, Body Refining Stage, Level 10 Experience Points, 18000/200000, 1,110,000 Experience Points remaining to be consumed, Badass Points, 70,000 Skills and Spells, Wind Blast, LVL2 Responsive Shield, LVL3 Environment Scanning, LVL2 Ignitia, LVL2 Lightning Dash, LVL2 Energy Devour, LVL1 Death Range, LVL2 Techniques, Swords of Destiny, 88% Mastery Occupation, Core Disciple of Sunrise Sect, the Guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the Abyssal Status, Healthy Goals. Control the World, Rebuild the Order of Death, Utility Function, Banker, LVL2, Ratio, 1,000 Gold Coins, 5 Badass Points, Wealth, 685,000 Gold. Special Trait, 5-star Alchemist Subordinates, Gaia, Loyalty Level 95%, Base of Operation, Sunrise Sect, the Abyssal. The number of Badass Pints and Experience Points immediately brightened his face. He became one step closer to reach the top of the food chain. The first thing he wanted to do after getting out is upgrading the system to level 3, because it keeps telling him the system level is too low to answer many of his questions. 30,000 Badass Points seemed humongous when he upgraded the system to level 2, but now, he could spend this amount without batting an eye. Michael was positive that Selena would come looking for him, doubting him for Jane's death. At that time, he wouldn't be the same person she attacked at the waterfall. This time, he would have the strength to return the favor in case she tries to attack him. "Come on, baby dragon, let's go." He stood up, looking at the light beam again as the baby dragon came hopping to him. It then clawed its way to Michael's shoulder. In his focus at the portal, he failed to notice the grayish scale on the dragon's belly, which was crimson-red before. Eventually running for another 2.5 hours, finally, the light beam seemed closer to him. On the distance around the light beam, he could see a few camp tents and people who were packing up their stuff to leave the Nether Realm. Now that we have finished with the Nether Realm arc, we can finally get into the interesting parts. How about an adventure? Chapter 127. The closer he got to the campsite, he finally understood where the disciples of Aragoth went after he met them at the Sky Garden. They were spending their time waiting for the portal to appear. "Stay inside," he said calmly, looking at the baby dragon. The baby dragon let out a reluctant shrill before making its way into its dark home, Michael's coat pocket. Having a perfect way to keep the dragon safe didn't mean he could be careless. Many prying eyes of those rogue cultivators and of those who desire to have a dragon at their disposal might try to get their hands on the baby dragon. Obviously, he was not planning to keep the baby dragon hidden forever. What's the point of having a dragon if he couldn't show off to increase the badass points? But for now, he decided to keep the baby dragon hidden. He was positive that prominent figures he met before entering the Nether Realm would come again. Those people were ruthless, dangerous, and powerful enough to make him disappear overnight. Despite the system's nagging to explore this world, adventure out of Bredia, he was ignoring the system as his full focus was on getting stronger, stronger to the point where he doesn't need to worry about someone taking the things he loves and cherishes. At the present moment, he might have seemed overpowered, undefeatable even, but he only fought with inexperienced snotty kids like Maisie or Selena. The world was vast. There would be people who are cunning, strong yet deceitful. These people would overwhelm his advantage of having a system with their brain and actions. He was indeed the #1 hitman/assassin back on Earth, but that certainly didn't mean he's the #1 genius evil mastermind. To face people of that caliber, the only foolproof way he found is becoming powerful enough to defeat their tricks with overwhelming strength. This wasn't a novel he used to read, this was his life, a life he planned to live like a god. Unlike those main characters in the novels, he self-evaluated him to find his weaknesses as well as his strengths. Relying on luck or even on the system would not be one of his weaknesses. When he approached the campgrounds, he stopped using the lightning dash. By walking, he drew the attention of fewer eyes. One by one, the youngsters dismantled their tents. Some of them were fancy, some of them were makeshift, and the tent Michael was walking towards was not the latter. The flag with a large greatsword drawn on it waved in the wind majestically. Outside of the tent, a reddish-haired youngster calmly watched over his friends doing all the dirty work. There was a hint of surprise in Nathan's eyes when he laid his eyes on Ghost. Soon, he twitched his nose because Ghost didn't exactly smell like jasmines, he reeked blood and dust. Ghost, Nathan, each gave a short nod. "It's fortunate I met you here. When we go outside, come with me to get your coins," said Nathan, making Michael grin in delight. Renovating the sect, building the restaurant cost them more than he expected. Even as he speaks, Gaia was taking money from the Majestic and spending it on the construction works. After Nathan settles his debt, he would be a 1.7 million richer. "I didn't see you after the Sky Garden. Any luck finding treasures?" He probed Nathan to see him shake his head. "Our sole purpose to come here was getting rare herbs. Fortunately, we got those on the very first day. So we didn't roam around the place looking for more treasures. Besides, I heard there weren't any treasures after the Sky Garden." Those brown eyes of Nathan contained a hint of suspicion within them. When he first met Ghost, he didn't reek blood, and now he is, which meant he battled something, and chances were he was trying to get a treasure. "I was fortunate enough to come across few," Michael answered, showing his lack of interest in discussing this further. Nathan was nice enough not to ask further questions, which Michael appreciated very much. "About that contract I promised, you have to come to Aragoth and ask for me. Will do as soon as I break through to the body-strengthening stage." He intentionally let these words out to milk some badass points through impressing these youngsters. Just as he expected, he began to hear the ringing sounds of the system notification in his mind. Nathan's mouth slightly opened in sudden surprise. He was speechless. A few moments after, he regained his previous composure. "Very well then, meet me whenever you can," he said with a short nod. "Nathan, are you an alchemist as well?" Michael asked the question in his mind ever since he met Nathan. Nathan seemed like he was expecting this question from him. "Yes, I'm a level 2 alchemist. What gave me away?" For the first time, the serious expression on Nathan faded away, and instead, a small chuckle occupied his face. "You," Michael pointed at him, "you said your sole purpose of coming to Nether Realm was to find rare herbs. Who else would do that except alchemists?" Besides, Nathan didn't exactly radiate a warrior vibe. In fact, he seemed like a person who grew up like a greenhouse flower in Michael's eyes. Boom. As he finished speaking, a thunderous clap could be heard. They looked at the light beam to see at the bottom, on the ground level, a grayish hole big enough to let in a group of 5 appear. "The portal has opened. Finally. Heck yeah. I'm going to drink myself to death." The rather silent atmosphere, the appearance of this portal instantly elevated the mood of these youngsters. They cheered, clapped, and bounced in joy while a few who barely survived this place sighed in relief. "Shall we?" Michael gestured at Nathan to lead the way as he followed them behind to the portal, controlling the excitement of returning to his sect, his friend. The groups with either one of the 3 big sects symbol on their chest entered through the portal first while everyone made way for them. Nathan and his group could have taken the first place, but Nathan just let them pass through for some reason. Finally, with one last look back at the Nether Realm, he stepped into the darkness, letting the portal surround him. Surprise sucker. The very next moment Michael stepped out of the portal, he felt a sharp pain in his hand. He turned around with a wide grin to see Gaia was standing in front of him, showing her white row of teeth. What are you doing here? He didn't expect her to come over here to welcome him personally. This gesture of her truly surprised him. Making sure you reach our home safely, she defined the house in the sect as our with no hesitation. Yeah, right. He rolled his eyes, turning his gaze at the crowd to locate Nathan. As time passed, the ground became more and more crowded. Come on, let's find those Aragoth people and get our money. Wait a minute, she pulled his sleeve. She then stared at him, from his top to bottom frowning. Is there something you want to tell me? Another surprise hit Michael's core. Apparently, she was great at reading faces, even Michael's. The baby dragon might have sensed the change in the surroundings and stopped moving, but she knew he was hiding something just by looking at the slight upcurve on the corner of his mouth. Nope, just keep your damn mouth shut and follow me, plop. He playfully slapped the back of her neck, gesturing her to follow him. She would have ripped the hands off before even someone tries to slap her, but when it comes to him, she loved interactions like this. Wiggling through the crowd, he found the same flag as he did before. Nathan was surrounded by a bunch of youngsters of his age as well as a couple of older guys who wore distinctive crimson-colored clothes. House of Bradley, she immediately recognized those crimson-robed people as the members of House Bradley. Seeing him and Gaia approaching them, they whispered something into Nathan's ear as he turned around. Uncle, he is the one I was talking about from the crowd. A stutty-looking man stepped forward with 2 guards at each side. He was a level 10, core formation stage warrior. Michael could sense he was just a couple of months of cultivation from reaching the next stage. I heard you did good back there, young man. His hazel black eyes scanned Michael from head to toe while letting out a burst of wild laughter. It's an honor to meet you, sir, Michael said in return, grinning ear to ear. Cut the sir crap, call me Lord Malin. As you wish, Lord Malin. Here you go. The very next moment, Malin threw him a space ring with a horse etched onto it. This was the symbol of House Bradley. Michael did not even check inside the ring as he put the ring inside his system storage. This was a gesture to show them that he trusts them as well as to be in their good graces. If he wanted to survive in this world full of powerful men, he had to be under the shade of powerful men like House Bradley until he himself reached the point of being the superpower. I heard you are also a 5-star alchemist. How about visit us sometime and let us pick your brain a little? Of course, Lord Malin, as soon as I finish dealing with some things back at my sect, I will come to visit you. Michael was not an idiot not to notice the ulterior motive behind Malin's invitation. Malin's voice betrayed him, showing Michael that this man needs something from him. Wonderful, and trust me, young man, it will be worth your time. Chapter 128, Brother Ghost is back. The moment he landed on the outskirts of the Sunrise sect, a group led by Jack let out a thunderous roar. They bounced, cheered, and screamed his name, making Michael smile a bit. Among the crowd of disciples, he also noticed a group of new faces who had musical instruments such as drums, marimba, Audiobook drum, and pandero. Previously, when he first came to the sect, the outskirts were occupied with overgrown shrubs, thorns, and one could definitely tell this place was not very much looked after. However, at the present moment, nothing was overgrown. Thorns had completely disappeared from his sight. The shrubs were replaced with seedlings of flower plants. Brother Ghost, Jack came running bearing a face full of excitement and joy. Jack, you've leveled up. Jack moved on from foundation stage level 4 to level 8. Michael patted him on the back, making Jack grin even more. I gave that bastard enough pills to reach the body refining stage. Plop. As usual, Gaia slapped Jack as everyone began to laugh out loud. What are you waiting for? Beat it. Jack ordered, looking at the group with musical instruments. Instantly the festive music reverberated the foothills of the Sunrise sect, showing every single living being of Michael's triumph return. The beats, the dance, and the festive mood that could be seen on everyone's face slightly reminded him of the Carnival of Rio de Janeiro back on Earth. Unlike back on Earth, he was not here to assassinate someone but to enjoy his life. The male and female disciples forgot about their gender and rocked their bodies, swaying with the beats. You know about this? While making his way to the top, he asked Gaia, who do you think is paying for this? she said, waving her hands. Inside his pocket, the beats awakened the baby dragon. It began to scratch his chest, asking him to let it out. For the next few minutes, Michael kept patting his chest, calming the baby dragon. He did not want to reveal the existence of the baby dragon just yet. Eventually, the sight of the newly renovated buildings fell in his eyes. His brows arched in surprise. The buildings were nowhere near finished, but they were already looking better, much better than the previous ruins. Now we are talking, he thought, feeling the excitement stirring up in his heart. Thank you guys. Looking at the elders and Claire waiting for him in front of the teacher's quarters, Michael said to the musicians with a short smile. Ghost, welcome back. Welcome back to the world of the living, young man. Claire stepped forward, giving him a loving embrace, an embrace of a big sister. Even though his full focus was on getting stronger to rule this world, people like Claire added flavors to his life. In his previous life, he had no people to share his happiness or sadness. Now, thanks to this mysterious system, he got a friend like Gaia, loving people like elders and Claire. You have something in your pocket? Claire asked, feeling something wiggling inside Michael's chest. The very next moment, everyone's gaze landed on Michael's chest. Indeed, there was something wiggling. I knew you were hiding something. She turned him to face her, pulling his shoulders. Take it out. You asked for it. With a chuckle, Michael gently grabbed the baby dragon and pulled it out. A moment of stillness occupied the scene before Gaia jumped back, letting out a squeal. Hoo-hoo! Like it met a lifelong enemy. The baby dragon hissed at Gaia. The dragons and the Nagas were two foes in nature's order. Like a cat doesn't need a reason to hate a mouse, these two were just like that, only in larger, bloodthirsty creatures. A dragon! Holy fuck! My god! None noticed the change in Gaia's face as all their eyes were locked onto the baby dragon. The cute, crimson-colored scaly created had attracted all the eyes instantly from Michael himself. Claire's hands trembled approaching the baby dragon, her voice stuttered. Ooh, it's okay, Michael reassured the baby dragon. For a few seconds, the baby dragon hesitated, sniffing Claire's hands before finally letting her take it into her arms. Brother Ghost, that's a dragon, Jack stuttered while everyone except him crowding around Claire to see the baby dragon. Where did you dash? He couldn't even finish his question. Shock overwhelmed his ability to speak. Where else? Nether realm, Michael said. He then turned around to see Gaia's face show a mix of anger and fear. He could tell she was fracking out despite her power. I don't want that lizard here. She kicked the ground beneath her. Surprise sucker. At the present moment, Michael was lying on the royal sofa. The baby dragon and Gaia were having a staring contest in front of him. If he wanted to break through peacefully, he had to resolve this petty hostility between her and this little dragon. In the future, these two may have to fight beside each other. How could they do that if they don't trust each other? He must root out the hate for each other from their hearts before the baby dragon grows up to be a big dragon. For Gaia, he decided to give her some tough love to realize how stupid it is to fight with this baby dragon. Gaia, what? She asked without taking her eyes off the baby dragon. Doesn't this seem childish to you? He stepped in, giving a quick slap to both on the head. You, Michael aimed his eyes at Gaia, you are grown-ass girl, yet, you are fighting with this baby dragon. She tried to open her lips, only to get yelled at again. I don't give a damn about what the dragons did to Nagas or Nagas to dragons. I want you two to trust each other. No food for you two until you find a way to get along. A horrified expression could be seen on their faces. The baby dragon let out a crying ho-ho. He was deadly serious about starving them, she could tell that much. Now she had two choices. The first choice, trying to steal food from the restaurant, but she didn't believe she could achieve that feat with him around. The second choice, find a way to get along with the baby dragon, as he said. Hoo-hoo, this is not my fault, you little asshole. She wanted to strangle the baby dragon when she heard it blame her for his anger. The baby dragon hissed, ready to scratch her pretty face. It didn't feel a bit afraid of his natural enemy, Naga. After Michael's departure, they continued the staring contest, trying to figure out a way to get along. Since he had to break through to the body-strengthening stage, he ordered Gaia not to renovate the house when he was in the nether realm. So this worn-out home remained the same, He sat on his bed, eyes closed. System. Let's begin. System version 2. 0 host. Michael cultivation level, body refining stage, level 10 experience points. 180,000/200000, 1,110,000 experience points remaining to be consumed. Badass points. 70,000 skills and spells. Wind Blast LVL2 Responsive Shield, LVL3 Environment Scanning, LVL2 Ignition, LVL2 Lightning Dash, LVL2 Energy Devour, LVL1 Death Range, LVL2 Techniques, Swords of Destiny, 88% Mastery Occupation, Core Disciple of Sunrise Sect, the Guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the Abyssal Status, Healthy Goals. Control the World, Rebuild the Order of Death, Utility Function, Banker LVL2, Ratio, 1,000 Gold Coins, 5 Badass Points, Wealth, 685,000 Gold Special Trait, 5-star Alchemist Subordinates, Gaia, Loyalty Level 95%, Base of Operation, Sunrise Sect. The Abyssal. He willed his status to come forward, staring at all the unconsumed experience points. He began the process of breaking through. Does the host wish to break through to the body strengthening stage? Yes. The system requires host 3 days to reach the next stage. Warning, the system will be offline for 3 days. Upgrade yourself to version 3 and then begin the breakthrough process. Michael ordered the system telepathically. The next moment, the interface in front of him faded away and darkness surrounded his mind. In the pitch-black darkness, Michael's consciousness brought him the memories of Earth. The way he grew up in an orphanage that was a front to an arms and drugs dealing operation. He was bullied and beaten by those things despite his little age every day. As a little kid, he wanted to be a teacher. Every time the thugs would ask the kids in the orphanage to smuggle drugs, Michael resisted them. In return, he would be beaten to a pulp, beaten until his little heart finally gave up resisting them. He learned to adapt, bend the situation to his favor. In this life, the circumstances changed but odds against him remained the same. After 3 days, congratulations to the host for reaching the next stage, the body strengthening stage. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 1. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 2. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 3. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 4. The system has been successfully upgraded to version 3. Omega level warning. Activating countermeasures. System safe mode activated. Chapter 129. The system's bluish interface flickered. Soon, the bluish color turned to something gray, dark. What the heck happened? An OMG level warning? What is that? Many questions riddled his mind. System level is too low to answer host question. Why am I not surprised? Michael sighed. Little by little, he began to realize something called Omega is messing with the system. This system was not like a system in the novels he used to read about. The badass system seemed to have a backstory of its own, enemies of its own. The system was an absolute peak existence in his mind, but now, it looked like there's something beyond that. He was nowhere near facing threats on that scale. All he could do for now was getting stronger. He showed this Omega threat to the corner of his mind and focused on his stats. System version 3. 0, safe mode. Host, Michael cultivation level, body strengthening stage, level 4 experience points. 190,000/30,000 badass points. 40,000 skills and spells. Wind Blast LVL2 Responsive Shield, LVL3 Environment Scanning, LVL2 Ignition, LVL2 Lightning Dash, LVL2 Energy Devour, LVL1 Death Range, LVL2 Techniques, Swords of Destiny, 88% Mastery Occupation, Core Disciple of Sunrise Sect, the Guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the Abyssal Status, Healthy Goals, Control the World, Rebuild the Order of Death, Utility Function, Banker LVL2, Ratio, 1,000 Gold Coins, 5 Badass Points, Wealth, 1,685,000 Gold Special Trait, 5-star Alchemist Subordinates, Gaia, loyalty level 95%. Base of operation. Sunrise sect the abyssal system. How much for upgrading the banker function to level 3? A loading icon appeared in front of him. This was new, yet he decided not to ask because he knew it might be related to the system running on safe mode. 20,000 badass points. The ration will be 1,000 gold coins to 10 badass points. With no hesitation, he willed the system to upgrade the function. In a desperate situation, 100 badass points could save his life, so keeping this function upgraded would let him get those life-saving badass points. Base of operation. The Sunrise Sect current leader, Claire Marigold level, 1 number of members, 34 status, declined legend, 30/1000, still a crappy old sect where a 5-star alchemist resides. Compared to before, there was no debt, and the legend of the sect increased by 10 points. He did not feel demotivated by the measly 10 points increase. He knew the legend would grow after putting his plan for the Broad River sect in motion. Besides, he still didn't give all the spell scrolls he got from the cave, not to mention the 80 to 100 herbs he plucked from the Sky Garden. Furthermore, he was absolutely positive that getting the contract of Aragoth would not only bring him millions of gold coins but also elevate the sect's status. Time to learn a new spell. Excitement overwhelmed his senses. He opened the system storage. Ring of Fire, spell name, Ring of Fire effect. Creates a shockwave of flames and a ring of fire around the caster for a short amount of time. Upgradable through mentor function current level. Rare, system. I wish to learn this spell. In his arsenal, Ignitia acted as both close combat and long-range combat spell. The sword mastery enhanced his close combat skill even further. The only thing he lacked was an area of effect, spell. This ring of fire could be the fix to that problem. Activating mentor feature, scanning the ring of fire spell. System found improvements to the spell. Does the host wish to improve the spell? Yes, he said without hiding the excitement in his heart. 1,000 badass points required to improve the spell. Oh, I thought you were going to do this for free. Sarcasm overflowed in his tone. Take it. He experienced the familiar acute pain in his brain. When he opened his eyes, his vision was blocked by a crimson-red warning. Maximum recommended spell number reached. The system advised host to stop learning any more spells before reaching the next stage in cultivation. Exceeding the maximum spell number would result in nausea, headache, muscle pain, memory loss, etc. Geez, fuck, I was kinda hoping to learn all these rare spells to become super up. The warning really frustrated him. He gritted his teeth and swallowed the frustration. He could not fight the system. The rational thing to do was upgrade the existing spells before learning more despite his desire to learn new spells. The Ring of Fire Mastery was at the level of 50%. If he wanted to reach 100%, he had to practice the spell and use this spell more often. Alright, I can live with the spells I already have. Hey, suddenly Michael remembered something. System, where are my rewards for upgrading you? Oh come on, why should I upgrade your ass if you won't give me some sort of rewards? Host will get rewards after the system terminates the safe mode. And when would that be? The silence made him even more frustrated thinking about the 30,000 badass points he spent on upgrading this jerk of a system. Finally, with a long sigh, he closed the system, letting his eyes bathe in the daylight. Sister Elia. That damn lizard tore my clothes. Tuhu, I'm gonna tear you apart. Sister Elia, calm down, it's just a baby. Outside of his room he heard the yellings. What now? He sighed and made his way towards the door. He opened the door to see the baby dragon in Cindy's hands while Gaia was waving a thin needle-like stick at the baby dragon. However, all of them paused seeing him walk out of his room. Brother Ghost. Hoo-hoo. Cindy almost threw her hands up, dropping the baby dragon in her hands when she saw him. The baby dragon wagged its tail like a puppy, reached out its claws to shower him with kisses. He crouched down to receive a soft, tender kiss from Cindy on one cheek and wet, nibbling kisses on the other from the baby dragon. Body strengthening stage level 4, why am I not surprised? He was just a body refining stage cultivator a few weeks ago. Now he turned himself into a body strengthening stage level 4 warrior. His speed of cultivation was really monstrous. Even she couldn't be compared to his speed. Coupled with his war god body and the orc who could summon netherals, She knew he's going to get even stronger. Although she had a bad feeling about this orc, they had to work with the orc to grow their strength. The church and the guardians were still searching for Jane's killer. She knew that Selena would soon come looking for Ghost in blind anger. To face a threat like the church or the guardians, they needed servants like this orc. Cindy, when did you reach the foundation stage? Michael pecked her on the cheek, ruffling her carefully combed hair. Sister Elia is teaching me to cultivate. Really? Actually, he was surprised to see the selfish snake care about Cindy. Hoo-hoo, I missed you too, baby dragon. The baby dragon was relentlessly kissing all over his face, trying its absolute best to get his attention. Cindy, where's your mother? He carried the little girl in his hand while the baby dragon sat on top of his shoulder. Seeing its human has returned, the baby dragon felt safe. Looking at Gaia, it stuck its tongue out, giving her a "yeah I did tear your clothes" look. Don't be too cocky, lizard, I can still squeeze you to death. The hostility he saw the first time in their eyes now became less. At least they didn't kill each other, he thought. Mother and little brother is still at River Town. I will meet them there. And Elia? She was lazily laying on the sofa. What? She asked. I have a gift for you. Her face slightly brightened as she stood straight on the sofa. Michael retrieved the femur he got from the skeleton, instantly making everyone in the room feel the pressure. Gaia was overwhelmed by the arch-energy radiation coming from the bone. She walked towards him with a slightly opened mouth. This is... Yes, a bone of a fusion stage cultivator. She took the bone with the utmost care from Michael's hand. The baby dragon stared at the bone, sensing the power, while Cindy just scratched her little head, having no idea about the bone. You can absorb this energy to reach the next level. She blankly nodded, still feeling overwhelmed by the energy. Do you have more? He wanted to punch this greedy snake in the face. Many would kill to get their hands on a single bone, yet she was asking for more with a serious face. Yeah, I have a whole skeleton under my bed, he answered sarcastically, making her chuckle a bit. Where to? She put the bone in her space ring and asked him on his way to the outside. To expand our herbal garden, he would have given the herbs to Gaia 3 days ago, but these herbs were rare and required his attention while planting. Therefore, he kept the herbs until now. To the herbi garden. Cindy shouted joyfully, pointing her finger towards the herbal garden's direction. Yes, to the herbi garden. Chapter 130. Even from hundreds of meters away from the herbal garden, one could smell the medicinal fragrance in the air. Lush green, morning sky orange, rose pink, and various colors of plants welcomed Michael with a sway in the wind. The disciples were watering the herbs regularly under the supervision of Elder Reiner, who now built a swing in the middle of the herbal garden to spend his free time in this peaceful atmosphere. At the present moment, the herbal garden was approximately 500 square feet in area. Quite a distance from the garden area, he noticed a couple of workers digging through. What are they doing? He asked Gaia. Well, build a dome covering the garden, a glass dome. It'll be grand. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, talking about the dome. Of course, we don't have enough coins to start the construction. They are just digging the ground for the foundation, Michael nodded. Expanding the herbal garden would definitely increase the sex legend as well as help him make varieties of potions and pills. Since Gaia was a core formation warrior, he could start expanding the garden with no fear of someone stealing his herbs. He also planned to use the Aragoth as his protection charm. Elder Reiner, the look-alike of Gandalf, was startled noticing Michael's cultivation level. His jaws opened wide. Young man, when did you reach the body-strengthening stage and how did you jump 4 levels? He came forward, leaving the swing. Nether Realm, Elder Reiner, I was lucky to find a few rare herbs. Do you want to see them? Elder Reiner's face brightened as he nodded vigorously like a little child. Michael flicked his wrist, ordering the system to place all the herbs in the storage in front of him. The very next moment, 98 to be exact herbs appeared in a neat row, making Elder Reiner almost faint on the spot because all of them were rare, extremely rare. He didn't open up the matter that he gave legendary herbs like tiger cress, diamond leaf, oglio root, and cavern petal to Aragoth in exchange for the alchemy supply contract. So many herbs. Elder Reiner dropped to his knees, smelling, feeling, touching the herbs one by one. Although he didn't recognize many herbs in here, He could sense the powerful medical arch energy radiating from within those herbs. You really had a great time there, didn't you? Gaia knew about his actions in the herbal garden. Still, seeing these herbs with her eyes slightly shocked her. Pretty! Cindy's big eyes sparkled looking at the ocean jasmine, which was a transparent ocean blue flower. The sweet fragrance and the beauty of the 5-petal flower overwhelmed Cindy. It's called ocean jasmine, am I right, Ghost? Suddenly he heard the voice of Claire. Turning around he saw sect leader Claire, as beautiful as the ocean jasmine itself, walking towards him with a smile like a morning sunray. Her golden blonde hair now became more golden and wavy, dancing in on her shoulder. You're right, sect leader Claire. You have grown stronger. Claire clutched his biceps playfully, not as stunned as Elder Reiner. After hearing what Gaia did to those adventurers and Michael's feat during the Phoenix auction fair, she herself had grown stronger, tougher. She wanted to be the leader everyone follows to death, not a sissy. What could make her afraid when she has Ghost behind her? His reputation had even reached the capital city. The king of Bredia himself treated them with the utmost respect because of Ghost. He was the guardian for all of them. Michael didn't fail to notice the confidence in her eyes. The woman in front of him was not the meekly soft Claire he first met. This was a new person. Not only her, everyone in the sect seemed to be a new person. He affected the greater than he expected. She gave a quick kiss to the baby dragon on his shoulder, and then she looked at the little Cindy. When Michael put the little girl down, she immediately went straight to the ocean jasmine, burying her nose onto the petals. Just as she was about to pluck the flower, Claire grabbed her little hands. Cindy, if you love a flower, don't pluck it. Because if you pluck it, it dies and it ceases to be what you love. So if you love a flower, let it be. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Michael didn't mind Cindy pluck the flower, of course. He would have reminded her of the preciousness of the flower before giving it to her because he would never spoil her. However, Claire's words made more sense. Yes, Teacher Claire, I will not pluck any flowers, I promise. Good. Claire ruffled her head, giving her a warm kiss on the forehead. Elder Reiner, shall we start planting them? For the next few hours, Elder Reiner, Michael, Jack, and many male disciples got their hands dirty planting each herb in the suitable place following Michael's instruction. Gaia, Claire, and the girls made lemonade, keeping the workers energetic while the baby dragon played fetch with Cindy. The scene resembled the scenes of a happy feel-good movie. Michael mixed the netheril ash with the soil in the right ratio to make the herbs grow faster and healthier. The previously 500 square feet garden now became almost triple the size, as many of the herbs Michael brought would take a lot of ground to grow. After finishing planting them, he plucked enough leaves, roots, flowers, and parts of the herbs to make new pills and potions. What are we gonna make? Gaia came after they had done all the dirty work. Though she was with Claire who made lemonades for them, the snake was only there to drink them, not to work, not to help. Wisdom potion, mind control pills, love potion, elemental resistance potion, perception pills, hallucination potion, camouflage potion, enhanced healing potion, and the one we talked about. The latter was the pill to counteract the lie detecting potion. There was a chance of Selena bring this potion to test him to see if he had anything to do with Jane's death. This recipe to neutralize the effects of the lie detecting potion could only be concocted by him because he bought the recipe from the system. There were two ways to see someone whether lying or not, that potion and the lie detector array. The latter was better than the potion. It could even detect a half-immortal's lies, but it had downsides. It cannot be transported, and extremely expensive to create one in the first place. According to Gaia, Nagaland has one and the church in Kingdom Zaynad. Even an immortal couldn't relocate or transport the array, let alone a puny body-strengthening warrior like Selena. Sect leader Claire, we need to discuss something. Call all the elders. He was calm, collected, and radiated confidence in his eyes. Seeing his demeanor, Claire didn't worry much but nodded. The matter about the Broad River sect, right? Michael nodded at Gaia. He wanted to take a bath before attending the meeting with Claire and the elders because he was reeking blood, sweat, and netheril. He then sent Cindy to help the elders any way she can. After the little girl's figure disappeared from their sight, Gaia spoke. I asked around about the Broad River sect. They are relatively a small sect that has a total of 152 disciples, 10 teachers, for elders, and one sect leader who is the strongest. Core formation level 5, Gaia served him with the information she collected about the sect. They mainly focus on runes, but those jokers only have one 3-star runemaster and a couple of 2 stars teaching runes. What about the sect's location? Asked Michael, near a broad river in Sartan, hence their name. They don't have huge lands such as us though. They'll be our first branch. Michael and Gaia grinned devilishly, sharing the same thought. Also Gaia, I want you to teach cultivation to Cindy's friends. We should nurture them from little to make them loyal to us. That way, they'll make a great loyal army in the future. He turned into an assassin because those drug dealers abused him and the kids in the orphanage to smuggle drugs. It was the starting point of his path to becoming an assassin. Although he would never abuse those little kids, he did decide to use them. His path to rule this world shadowed his moral codes. To become a ruler of this world, he had to sacrifice a part of his soul. The seed of the Dark Lord inside him had already started to sprout, more than he wanted to. I like the way you think, human, she returned, a devilish grin of her own. At the present moment, he did not know what he was slowly becoming. He was thinking that everything's under control, except the universe. The higher power has a different plan. However, does everything in this world is black and white? What makes Michael the bad guy and what makes Noah the good guy? Is Michael really the bad guy for planning to use those innocent kids? There's something you should know about the Broad River sect, human. Chapter 131. Matthias Mills was sitting in his carriage with his hand bracing his head. A flash of anger could be seen on his tanned face. His sharp gaze stared at the lines of the tree they were passing by. In front of him, a middle-aged woman was pouring him tea. Despite the black cloak covering her face, her movements weren't interrupted by the cloak at all. Drink this tea, sect leader, I'll soothe your anger, the woman said. If one was to look closely, they could see the burn mark within those shadows of the cloak. Nothing can soothe my anger, Ella. Gritting his teeth, Matthias answered. Well, something should before we make it to the Sunrise sect, sect leader. Without letting the tea go to waste, Ella took a sip instead of giving him. Matthias' gaze turned from the scenery outside to Ella, who was now leisurely enjoying the tea. I'm saying this for your own good, sect leader, don't underestimate that ghost. Nowadays these young freaks disobey the laws of nature like eating breakfast. Meaning? Matthias' tone was filled with rage. She knew he is boiling in anger, yet she continued with paying no mind to his mood. Meaning, you can't weigh him by just looking at his cultivation level. I heard he killed a body-strengthening stage cultivator when he was at a foundation stage. Funny thing is, he was also a sect leader. Are you implying dash? I'm implying nothing. I just want you to be calm when we talk to him. Don't be rash, Ella interrupted Matthias, advising him not to be rash except she wanted him to be. If you don't mind, sect leader, let me do the talking. A flash of anger ran through his face. He reached out, then he grabbed Ella by her neck as he said, I do mind because I'm the sect leader, not you. He was squeezing the life out of Ella. She was helpless. Only after a few moments of torturing her, he let go of her neck. Don't think I don't know you eyeing the sect leader's seat for yourself, but you can't be the face of the sect with a face like that. A murderous glare could be seen in her eyes, but the only thing she could do is swallow her anger and wait for the right time to strike him down. Just wait until I reach the core formation stage. I'll rip you to pieces, thought Ella. The rest of the journey was filled with silence in the carriage until they saw lines of carriages and crowds of people. Ella recognized most of the carriages belonged to the noble houses of Sartan. Her disciples told her about the Majestic and its business, yet seeing with her own eyes surprised her nonetheless. The crowd was queuing from the foothills to the Majestic, which was located atop the mountain in front of them. They had to reach the mountaintop to reach their meeting spot, but their path was blocked by these carriages and crowds. Stop! Just as they were about to stop behind the last carriage in the queue to the top, they heard the voice of a teenager. Ella looked outside through the window to see a blonde-haired youngster waiting for them in front of the carriage. Sect leader Matthias, elder Ella, welcome to Sunrise sect. Follow me, sect leader Claire is waiting for you. Seeing there's no way for them to reach the top in the carriage, Ella and Matthias stepped out of the carriage to follow this youngster. Why didn't Claire come to receive me? The moment Matthias stepped out, he scowled at the youngster while Ella just stood back waiting for the events to unfold. Sect leader Claire, the young man emphasized the words sect leader and continued, is handling something very important, so she sent me to personally receive you and lead you to her. If you please, follow me. The way the youngster answered sparked the fuel of anger inside Matthias. The youngster was just a body refining stage cultivator, level 1 at that, yet he showed no fear seeing a core formation cultivator like Matthias. Lead the way, kid. Ella was bouncing in joy. The more anger Matthias gets, the better the chance for him to start a battle with Ghost. With a nod towards Ella, he turned around and walked towards the top of the mountain. While they were following the young man, Ella saw a group of girls in revealing dresses, Silver Moon girls. Ella recognized the young man, immediately waved his hands at them, almost like he was instructed to. Hey, Brother Ghost said he has new pills and potions that would help your senior sister Kaplan. Remind her to visit him. Will do, Jack. The girls gave a flying kiss to the young man, making all the youngsters in the crowd look at him with envy. So Jack, are they friends? Ghost and Sadie, the core disciple of Silvermoon? Ella pondered. Of course, Elder Ella. Jack was leading them through the long route so they could notice the renovation sites. Although Matthias paid little interest in the renovation works due to his anger, what he saw was bewildered him. This was not the desolate place he saw a couple of years ago. Everything now seemed improved. Those once cobwebbed, worn-out buildings were being built and renovated. Workers were reconstructing the old paths made of stones with marble tiles. Another group was trimming the overgrown shrubs and bushes which previously made the area look untended. Ella saw the Sunrise Sect disciples before. At that time, they wore the bright orange uniforms, but now, including the youngster in front of her, the disciples wore clothes that were either black or closer to the color black. Oh, I almost forgot. Jack bit his tongue, taking out 2 pamphlets with the Sunrise Sect symbol drawn on them. He then handed over the pamphlets to Matthias and Ella. Without even taking a single glance, Matthias crumbled his pamphlet and threw it away. Ella, on the other hand, took a closer look. I'd love to take a tour around your sect, Jack. Matthias threw a cold glance at her as she shrugged. What? Since you don't want me to do the talking, let me at least do this. Matthias saw no trouble in letting her take a stroll around this place. It was not like she could do anything by taking a tour. Wonderful, Elder Ella. We'll begin our tour after leaving sect leader Matthias at sect leader Claire's residence. Jack clapped his hands, almost sighing inside. After taking another 100 or so steps through the construction site, they reached lines of individual houses which looked majestic, grand even. Each house was almost finished, but even at this stage, that triangle roof on the front, 3 long chimneys on the top, that white and royal blue paint gave each house a sumptuous characteristic. This time, Matthias' eyes widened in surprise as he followed the youngster to the house, which was just a couple of weeks from getting finished. Take a break, people. Jack shouted at the people who were placing windows, sandpapering the walls to start the painting works, as well as cultivating the ground in front of the house to ornamenting the house with plants and such. Jack's relationship with Gaia and Ghost gave him a certain pull within the sect. He had become the go-to guy to contact Gaia or Ghost. This increased his reputation among his fellow disciples, especially among girls. Sect leader Matthias, sect leader Claire is waiting for you inside. Is this where the famous Ghost of Rivertown lives? Ella asked Jack, looking at the one house which had no renovation going on. Except for its worn-out look, she could see nobles and the rich going inside using the side entrance and coming out with a wide grin on their faces. We are waiting for the rest of the buildings to get renovated, Elder Ella. After that, we'll turn this shabby old house into a mansion worthy for our senior brother Ghost and senior sister Elia. Jack wouldn't let anyone look down on Ghost or Elia. Go through the front entrance, Elder Ella. Brother Ghost is waiting for you. Ella wasn't surprised to hear Jack because, on the pamphlet he gave her before, there were 3 golden words flickered, Meet me, Ghost. Those words were enchanted to let only the holder, Ella, see the words, not Matthias. She nodded before taking slow steps towards the door. Even with a body-strengthening level 9 cultivation, she couldn't help but feel the seed of fear growing inside her regardless of Ghost's cultivation level. With a long sigh of a mix of fear and excitement for this meeting, she opened the door to be stunned by things in front of her. From the outside, the house looked nothing but shabby, old and worn out, yet on the inside, there were fancy cushions, sofas, tables, and many other things that could only be seen in a place like King's Palace. "Welcome, Elder Ella." Her gaze moved from the fancy sofas to the direction of the voice. She saw a youngster in a black long-sleeved tunic and trousers. His raven-black hair danced around his broad shoulder. A warm smile could be seen on his perfectly structured face. Through the transparent black long sleeves he wore, she could see the lines of the six-pack abs and big biceps. Her eyes were momentarily glued to this handsome man she had ever met. "How long are you planning to stand there, Elder Ella?" Chapter 132. Ella sat on the comfiest sofa she had ever rested her, but yet she couldn't enjoy its comfort to the fullest under his gaze. Her heartbeat slightly increased, not only because of the attraction towards the opposite gender but also because of his cultivation level, body strengthening stage, level 4. Cultivation speed like this was monstrous, heaven-defying, and godly. Despite the large crowds outside, the room was silent. Soon after, a woman in her early 30s came through the door behind him carrying a tray with 2 cups on it. The sweet fragrance coming from those cups made Ella's voice salivate to the point that she wanted to jump and gulp whatever inside the cups. Ghost grabbed the cup with a smile, and then, the woman placed the tray before Ella. "Please take it, Elder Ella." Regardless of her covered face, the woman gave her a wide grin, not a fake one but a genuine grin. Ella was surprised by the hospitality. "Thank you." She couldn't wait any longer. She brought the cup near to her nose, getting overwhelmed by the fragrance. Soon, she took a short sip, just only to feel a burst of electricity run through her body. Her black hood covered the sight of her eyes widened. This was nothing like she had tasted before, like nothing. All of her taste buds and the tongue felt alive, delighted, and overwhelmed. Delicious, isn't it? After Michael upgraded the system to version 3, he was able to quickly imbue the secret element into the ingredients Raylene brought from Breedia. Although the system said the secret element was pure arch-energy, he somewhat had a hard time believing it. Anyhow, the system made changes to the ingredients in the microparticle level, and coupled with Raylene's 5-star chef trait, anything made out of these ingredients became extremely delicious. "This is drugs. No, it's better than drugs," thought Ella, quickly finishing the tea in no time. "Yes, it is delicious." After a few moments, Ella asked, "Well, Elder Ella, meet the only 5-star in the entire kingdom of Breedia." Ella's mouth opened further, staring at the woman obediently standing behind Michael. "Do you know what is the most powerful profession, Elder Ella?" Michael asked after placing the cup on the table in front of him. Ella blankly shook her head. She was still overwhelmed by the fact the woman in front of her is a 5-star chef. She didn't doubt this fact because no one else could have made a simple tea this delicious. Alchemy, there are potions and pills for nearly everything, including for those burn wounds. Michael pointed at Ella's half-burned face. Her heart skipped a beat. Mouth became dry as she mumbled, "How dash, baby dragon." Ella heard a squawking sound. Her mind was blank due to overwhelming surprises and shock she has been receiving ever since she stepped into his home. Soon, Raylene took the cups and left the room, leaving them to their meeting. "Wow." She jumped back on her couch. It was a little dragon, a baby dragon. She had never seen a baby dragon before, or a real dragon for that matter, but she had seen paintings of dragons, and the creature in front of her resembled the paintings. She felt the noble aura the creature was radiating. Each of its movements was majestic, dignified. It climbed on his shoulder with ease and dropped the thumb-sized cup it was carrying in its mouth. Michael sent the thumb-sized ceramic cup floating towards Ella. "Apply this cream on the wound in your wrist." Michael had seen those wounds on her forearm despite her full sleeves. "This will go a lot smoother if you trust me, Elder Ella. Besides, you have nothing to lose by applying that cream. HU." The baby dragon knew he gave her an order, and it kept staring at her until she slowly took a small amount of this bluish cream and applied it to her wound. The cream touched her skin. Her burned skin had long ago lost the sense of touch. Even she wouldn't look at her face or her naked body without feeling nauseated. Half of her body had ugly burn wounds that made her cry her eyes out every single day. Until 13 years ago, she was a pretty girl. Even though she was not an angelic beauty who would instantly make men fall in love with them, she had a few followers. She was the one who was meant to be the next sect leader of the Broad River sect, but this fact changed when she met with an accident she would never forget until she dies. That day, she was caught inside a burning room. Until to this day, she had no idea how the fire started. The fire engulfed her home and all of her servants. Fortunately, her parents weren't at home that cursed day. Because of her wounds, the elders and the sect leader chose the next in line as the new sect leader, Matthias, stating that with those wounds, she can't be the one who leads the sect. They were right. Those wounds changed her from within. She was never the same person after that night. Men who courted her wouldn't even take a glance at her. Those who had no heart would make fun of her. Her friends left her because they couldn't be seen with an ugly freak like her. Slowly she started to wash away her feelings and griefs in booze, drugs, and anything that could numb her brain. This addiction of hers chased away her parents, leaving her alone. Only after a few years, she slowly began to realize what happened that night was not an accident but a planned event. The booze numbed her brain and kept her from realizing this sooner. When she started to investigate through any means necessary, she had found that it was Matthias who planned this. However, her realization came too late as he had already reached the core formation while she was struggling at the body refining stage. The vengeance made her quit drinking and focusing solely on her cultivation. For the past 10 years, she was controlling the urge to kill him and waiting for the right moment to strike. Matthias did not know her true intentions. As far as he was concerned, she was plotting to steal the leader position from him. What dash, she gasped the very next moment she applied the cream. The wound on the place she put the cream vanished instantly. On that place, new smooth skin began to appear. She immediately pulled her sleeve up and then she scooped the cream, trying to apply the small amount of cream everywhere. Although the cream was not enough for all the wounds on her hand, everywhere the cream touched, the wounds got healed. It was simply a miracle because she had hired numerous healers and tried hundreds of alchemy products, but not a single one of them could heal her wounds because the fire that burned her skin was not a normal fire but the holy fire. Your wounds will appear again after a few days, but I can make them disappear forever. There was a small pause in his voice before continuing. Only if you do my bidding, he said while gently rubbing the baby dragon's chin. He looked calm and careless. Anything, she saw those ugly wounds disappear. She felt the cold breeze brushing through her smooth skin again. She wanted this cream, she wanted it desperately. As we speak, sect leader Claire is making an offer to merge your sect with mine under the leadership of sect leader Claire. But you know the outcome of this, right? She nodded, knowing very well that Matthias won't even consider this, not even in a million years. I can simply kill him and subdue your sect within a day, but if I did that, your people will sooner or later revolt, hinder the growth of my sect. She knew he was right. Matthias may be an evil son of a bitch to her, but everyone in the sect would definitely leave or revolt if Ghost forces them to join his sect. That's where you come in, Elder Ella. I know you were the next in line after your previous sect leader, and I also know Matthias is the one who did this to you. I want you to convince your people to join my sect. In return, since sect leader Claire can't be in 2 locations at once, we'll leave the Broad River sect in your care. Plus, it'll heal your wounds. This was a sweet deal. Ella would have even poisoned the entire sect for that miraculous cream if he had asked her to. I will do it, Ella said with a firm resolve in her voice, making him grin wide. Michael left all the planning and convincing stuff to Ella, as she knew the people of the Broad River sect better than him. Eventually, after speaking for another couple of minutes, Ella left his home, leaving him with the baby dragon. What happened with Ella? Gaia entered the room and plunged herself into the sofa. Just as we planned. How's your end? He wants you to come to his sect, apologize in front of everyone, take 100 whips from each person's family you've killed. How predictable, he sneered. He gave you a week of time. If you don't go there by the end of this time, he said that he will come here personally to drag you there. Then Ella has a week of time to convince them. Chapter 133. All right, I have one last thing to do before going to River Town, said Michael, thinking about the new spell in his arsenal, the Ring of Fire spell. Ah, the new spell, give it to me. Since they shared almost everything, she came to him asking for the new spell. She also wanted to learn this new spell. Knock yourself out, This wasn't a spell he bought from the system, therefore he simply decided to share this spell with her, only with her. A rare spell, Baby Dragon. While Gaia was running her eyes through the spell scroll, he shouted for his pet. Up until now, he didn't come up with a badass name suitable for this dragon, so he was calling the baby dragon a baby dragon. Of course, Gaia suggested the following names: Ugly Lizard, Dicky, Assaholen, Shitface, and many other weird foul names. The baby dragon had taken note in its little heart, plotting its revenge against her in the dark. The one good thing that came up from their bickering was the baby dragon's gender. The baby dragon was a boy, which made their rivalry even worse. The one common thing they had was food. Both of them shared an enormous appetite. He even wondered how this baby dragon's stomach held that much food. The baby dragon came hopping to him, then it clawed its way to his shoulder, not before sending a blob of saliva to the spell scroll in her hands. One day I'll make you eat a boatload of shit. The baby dragon chuckled, but his chuckle was stopped when a tiny orb of fire hit his head. He hissed, looking at the orbs of fire dancing above Gaia's fingers. Burn my hair, you can't even light a candle, a rare kind of dragon you are, hee. Unlike Michael, she perfectly understood the meaning of the baby dragon's hoos. Stop it, you too, Michael chuckled, making his way to one of the construction sites. Where Michael was going to is the construction site of the office building Gaia was planning to build in the near future. The ground was barren, only a bunch of practice dummies could be seen on the site. He asked Jack to place these dummies to test the power of the new spell. When he stepped outside, a gentle cold evening breeze brushed past him, refreshing him from top to bottom. For a few moments, he stood still to feel the soothing breeze, becoming absorbed in the music of crickets, letting the gentle energy of nature wash in. He looked up at the sky to see countless stars glistening in the sky. Do you need a moment? Seeing him standing still, she asked, almost chuckling. The baby dragon watched the evening sky, and then it said something, brushing its scaly nose on Michael's chin. What's he saying? That lizard is saying that looking at this sky makes him hungry. The baby dragon nodded, making puppy eyes. You just ate no meat for your little scaly butt. Michael flicked the baby dragon on its forehead, making Gaia grin in joy. The baby dragon protested by head-butting him as he went to the ground. Considering the sun has long disappeared into the horizon, most of the workers went to their tents while some went into the first to hunt for fresh meat. After reaching the construction site, Michael stood in the middle, staring at all the dummies around him. Gaia kept her distance to protect her clothes from getting burned. Ring of fire, he mumbled these words under his breath, controlling the arch energy in his body. The next moment, a golden circle with many inscriptions appeared in the form of a holograph on the ground around Michael. Soon, the golden circle disappeared as waves of blazing fire swept the 5m radius area. Unlike the spells he bought from the system, he had a hard time controlling the flame blazes' direction and power. Those blazes didn't sweep across the area around him in a perfect circle but swept across chaotically. While he was trying to exact control over the blazes, from the ground appeared a circle of fire, turning everything into ashes within the circle except him. The blazes had already charcoaled the dummies, but the circle of fire was hot, too hot to the point that it turned even the mud and dirt into ash. From afar, drops of sweat could be seen on Gaia's face. She felt the temperature rise significantly, to the point she had to use arch energy to protect her skin from getting burned. What stunned her was she is a core formation warrior while the spellcaster Michael was just a body-strengthening stage warrior, yet the spell had this effect on her. Even a group of body-strengthening stage warriors with no defense shield around them wouldn't be able to withstand the heat for more than a couple of seconds if he used all of his arch energy. At the moment, he was only using half of his energy to get the hang of this spell. 52% mastery. Michael willed the system to show mastery over this spell. He still had a long way to go before reaching 100%. The only way to reach 100% was to practice the spell every single day and increase the arch energy he put into the spell little by little. A bunch of netherals would make a fine target for this spell, Michael thought. The mere thought of him killing hundreds of netherals to farm experience points gave him goosebumps. It was the ultimate shortcut to reach the pinnacle. After this, you really should stop learning new spells, Gaia warned him after the hot blazing fire around him faded away. I don't know you know this or not, but learning too many spells will cause your arch energy to become weak and damage your brain. How many spells should one learn? Michael asked. It depends on one's cultivation level and the power of the spell. Typically, a body-strengthening stage cultivator should learn only 4 to 5 spells. He was an exception because of the system, but even he had to stop learning any more new spells before reaching the next stage. If not for this restriction, he would have learned all the spells he got from the cave, turning into an absolute monster. This is for the best. I should upgrade the already existing spells before learning new spells. Not that I need to learn new spells, he thought inside. For the next few seconds, he focused on all his spells before creasing his brows. I need to figure out a way to utilize the Wind Blast spell. In his arsenal, Wind Blast was the least used as well as least powerful spell. The system rewarded him with this spell, and although he didn't use badass points on this spell, this still occupied his arsenal of spells, preventing him from learning a new spell. From tomorrow, you're gonna help me train my sword skills. As a standalone spell, Wind Blast was a weak spell, but he decided to combine this spell with his sword skills. Using one hand to swing the sword and the other to cast the Wind Blast might be the best way to utilize the full potential of the spell. Killing the Netherals in the Abyssal might also give him a new perspective about the Wind Blast spell. Get ready to get your ass kicked, Ghost. When he uttered his name, she grinned devilishly, almost certain she was going to beat the heck out of him tomorrow. Oh, Michael smiled inside and stepped closer to her. Wind Blast. The sudden blast of wind almost lifted her skirt up. She was caught off guard. Lightning Dash. Stop, you bastard, she screamed, chasing him behind to make him pay for what he just did. The halo of the horizon arrived with golden grace. On the large, luxurious bed of Michael, he was sleeping with the baby dragon curled up on his chest. Last night was a great exercise making Gaia chase him around the sect. Even without a spell like Lightning Dash, the snake was damn fast. After they got tired, they laid on the green grassland staring at the night sky before they came to their homes, searching for the comfort of the bed. While he was rolling on his bed, he heard knocks on his door. Brother Ghost, Sister Elia, wake up. Michael opened his eyes. He knew it was Jack outside the door. His voice contained a hint of panic. What all little shit? Gaia yawned, slowly opening her eyes. Sister Elia, wake up. The Baron and his men are on their way here. Soon, the sleepiness in their eyes disappeared. Instead, an amused expression flashed across their faces. So they finally decided to show up, huh? Michael put on his black transparent full-sleeve shirt. The baby dragon also yawned, blinking his eyes. He woke up. Come on, baby dragon, we have a bitch to deal with. As these words escaped his mouth, he flicked his wrist as 2 green pills appeared in his hand. The 2 pills were the size of a baby's fist. They radiated a smell of rusted iron. The baby dragon twitched its mouth when he took a whiff. Michael tossed the pill into his mouth. Swallowing the pill, he made his way to receive the Baron and his men. Chapter 134. With the baby dragon on his shoulder and Gaia behind him, he opened the door to see the panic-stricken Jack. A couple of drops of sweat could be seen on his face. What are you afraid of? It's just Baron and his men, Michael said. Stepping out of his home, he looked at the rising sun on the horizon. Today sell the usual stuff, he'll make the new pills and potions later. But Brother Dash, don't worry about the Baron, he'll deal with them. Get the fuck out of here. Gaia's tone gave Jack no space to continue. He could only run away from her before she the crap out of him. Do you sense them? His calm face turned cold after Jack left. Gaia nodded. The baby dragon's round pupils became vertical slits, sensing the powerful presence around them. Yes, we are surrounded, but I don't know how many. 56 powerful figures. Might be more than that. His environmental scanning was just at level 2, therefore, it could only sense a limited number of powerful hostiles around him. If they were at the core formation stage, he would have detected their cultivation level, but he was unable to sense their cultivation level, which meant they were stronger than the core formation stage. Among the 56 he could sense, some of them were concealing themselves and floating directly above them in the sky. Some were hiding in the ocean of trees around them. Humph, do they think it's easy to catch me? Michael snickered inside his mind. Can you sense their cultivation level? Gaia asked. She didn't show it on her face that they noticed the presence. All of them are above the core formation stage. He had already paid the system to prevent anyone from eavesdropping on their conversation in case these unknown figures were doing just that. If they were eavesdropping, they would hear nothing but some random conversation about life and the sect. Michael walked to the side, to a place where the customers could clearly see the events unfold so he could earn badass points utilizing this situation. Eventually, after waiting for the Baron and his men, Michael saw a large crowd of soldiers adorning full metal armor marching up the steps to meet him. At the same time, he looked up to see an object soaring through the sky. There she is, Michael snickered, recognizing the person atop the flying sword, Selena. The Baron and his men locked their eyes with him. They kept marching towards him until Selena landed in front of them with a loud thud. Even from a distance, he could see those bloodshot eyes, veins protruding on her face. Her neatly combed hair was disheveled. Behind Selena, an emaciated man walking with the men, Michael almost failed to recognize this man, Baron Totonk. He was walking like a zombie. There was no life in those swollen eyes of his. His previously sturdy body now became the body of a starved man. Killing Jane really did a number on him, Michael thought. Waiting for them, he stood there, his hair fluttering back in the wind, accompanied by Gaia and the baby dragon on his shoulder. The men halted their steps, keeping a 10-meter distance from Michael and Gaia. There were a few gasps and murmurs when they saw the majestic creature sitting on his shoulder. However, Selena's eyes didn't look like anything or anyone but Ghost. She locked her eyes with him. Within those bloodshot eyes, a flash of shock emerged and disappeared. Not impressed, Michael thought she would have reached at least the core formation stage, but seeing her body strengthening stage level 9 cultivation level, he was disappointed. "Young miss, let me talk." A wrinkly old man with a slightly hunched back pressed Selena's hand and said. The old man then turned his gaze at Michael. "Young Master Ghost, Baston, a servant of the Baron, did dash. I heard about what happened, Baston. It's terrible," Michael calmly said. Looking at his nonchalant face, Selena shivered in rage. However, her mind refused to attack him, just like she did when dealing with those who had grudges with Jane. She attacked first and asked questions later. The first time they met, he was just a foundation stage cultivator while she was a body strengthening stage warrior. At that time, she could have easily killed him, but now, the tables have turned. "Words cannot make any of you feel better. Is there something I can do to help you, Baston?" Since Baron Totonk seemed lifeless, Michael decided to talk with this old man instead of the Baron himself. "Grandpa Baston, let me deal with this bizdash. I assume you're not here to fight me, Selena," Michael interjected before she could finish her sentence. "Young miss, please." The old man quickly pressed Selena's fist tightly and gave Michael an apologetic look. "Young master, we are here to..." The old man's voice trailed away. "You're here to interrogate me, right?" Michael finished the old man's thought. The old man sighed, slowly nodding. "Young Master Ghost, I hope you understand the situation. We only want to find the person responsible for..." Again, the old man didn't finish his sentence, looking at the Baron beside him. The Baron had lost all of his energy and will to live after seeing his beloved daughter hanging in front of his manor, brutally killed. No matter how strong he was, at the end of the day, he was a loving father. Jane's death broke him from within. The old man knew the Baron had died that day, and the man with them is just a vessel. "You're wasting your time, Baston. You very well know that I was in the Nether Realm at that time," said Michael. "What's happening? Why is the Baron here? Whoa, what's up with the platoon of men?" "Hey, I think they are suspecting Brother Ghost with the murder of Jane." "Bullshit, everyone knows it was the devil of Bredia, Lucifer, who killed her. Brother Ghost beat the shit out of her personal guards, so it's natural for them to investigate him. Except Brother Ghost was in the Nether Realm when Lucifer killed her, unless Brother Ghost know a way to be in two different realms at the same time." Seeing the commotion, the disciples gathered around them. The old man and the Baron's men heard the chattering and couldn't help but agree with the disciples. The men knew Selena is wasting time with Ghost when she could focus the investigation on someone else. Jane's 2 uncles and 3 brothers were unable to come to her funeral as they were leading the army of Bredia against the war with Kingdom Lavia. Even if they wanted to come, the king wouldn't permit them unless they are fine with getting their heads cut for abandoning their king during the war. Only Selena and her family were there to console the Baron as well as seek justice personally for Jane. "You're a freak." Selena lost her patience. She shouted in anger, "You could have found a way to kill her." "This is not the time." Michael simply waved his hand, ignoring her. "Since you're here even though you know I was in the Nether Realm, I assume you have a reason to be here." Many men behind Baron were surprised to see the way he was handling Selena and the situation. He was not like the other prodigies or the genius youths they had encountered before. If someone else was in his shoes, they would have lost their calm because it was obvious that he didn't kill her. "Young miss," the old man glared at Selena. This time there was anger in his eyes. Selena swallowed her rage, giving the chance for Grandpa Baston to handle the situation. The old man flicked his situation, taking out a greenish glistening pill. As an alchemist, he instantly recognized the pill and its purity level, 85% pure pill, which meant it was concocted by the Pill King Gabriel himself. Truth exactor? The Baron men tensed when the old man took out the pill. This pill was used only in situations such as murder trials, judging treason cases. Except for those who were charged with the above accusations, it's considered a privacy invasion, which was a crime punishable by either death or decades of imprisonment, if the victim went to the king or to the guardians to complain. The disciple stepped back a little, fearing that Ghost would lose his calm and start attacking the Baron's men. His expression changed, a cold look submerged on his face before sighing, "I understand, I was one of the people who had quarrels with Jane. Besides, I understand the Baron's situation and respect him. Baston, give me the pill." The old man was stunned by his words. He really thought he would decline to take the pill. Even if he refused to take the pill, they had no right to force him to. It was a crime after all. "Ghost, you don't have to do that." Gaia pretended to be mad as the baby dragon hissed at the old man. "Who?" "It's okay, Ilya. The fewer the suspects, the closer they would get to Lucifer. Everyone has to help however they can to stop an evil like that." His image in everyone's hearts rose up. The Baron's men began to respect and admire this youngster. Despite his ruthlessness, he wanted to be on the side of good. Really? Even the system couldn't stay silent hearing him speak like an innocent, upright person. Chapter 135, Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 600 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 200 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. He was surprised by numerous ding sounds in his mind. Was that badass? He questioned himself. Baston handed over the pill and a transparent stone to Michael with a thankful smile on his face. This stone was connected to the pill through arch energy. The one who took the pill had to keep the stone in her hand. Each lie that comes out of their mouth would make the stone glow red and greed for truth. Typically the pill's effect would last for 5 to 10 minutes. Considering this was an 85% pure pill, the effect would at least last for 7 minutes. While holding the stone, he felt a strange sensation in his brain, but soon, the sensation disappeared. "Let's start with an obvious lie, shall we?" Michael smiled. "I'm a 5-legged scorpion with thousands of beauties in my harem." Some of the disciples and the soldiers chuckled. The stone soon let out a bright red color, indicates the obvious. For everyone witnessing the scene, they thought that the pill was working, but Michael was controlling the signals radiated from his brain, hence controlling the outcome. The pill he took before he met them gave him this ability. When the red light dimmed, he said, "Now the truth, I'm a 5-star alchemist who won Heaven's Gate competition." This time, the stone glowed in green. "Baston, Selena, the pill is working. Now you can start asking the questions related to Jane." Hoo-ho, seeing the calm look on his face, the baby dragon's pupils returned to their usual circular shape. Michael nudged the baby dragon's chin, waiting for Baston to question him. "Where were you for the last couple of weeks?" Instead of Baston, the one who asked the question was Selena. In the Nether Realm, the stone shined in green, No one among the disciples looked surprised because they knew he was there. Where else could he have gotten a baby dragon? Selina frowned. Did you wish to harm Jane in any way? The old man and the Baron's men locked their eyes with the stone, waiting for his answer. No, I did not. After Baron came to me and apologized for her actions, I dropped that matter. Again the stone shined in greed, somewhat calming the volcano of anger inside Selina but not completely. Did you dash? Soon, when the stone lost its color, she asked another question but only to get interjected by Michael. Look, I didn't kill Jane and I don't know who did it. I had no fucking idea that she's going to get killed. All of you are looking in the wrong place. Now I think this is enough proof for you. The stone kept emitting green light, making everyone around him sigh in relief. His face lost the smile. Instead, a cold look could be seen on his face. Thank you for your understanding, young Master Ghost, Baston bowed, giving an apologetic smile. Now if you'll excuse me, I have places to be. He threw the stone towards Baston. Gaia also took the same pill as Michael to neutralize the truth extractor in case Selina asked her to take the pill, but she didn't even look at Gaia. Young miss, let's go, Baston said. As they were turning back to leave, Michael sensed the powerful entities around him who stayed hidden also disappearing from his environmental scanning one by one. The Holy Guard, Michael mumbled. He already knew the church is investigating Jane's murder, hoping to find Lucifer. He had heard about these Holy Guards from Gaia, even she knew so little about them except the Holy Guards are the church's ultimate weapon. Apparently the church worships two gods, the sun god and the water god. He didn't care much about this religious institute until now as he tried to avoid mingling himself in the petty religious conflicts until he could get to a stage where they can't touch him. But this had changed now. He decided to get more information about this so-called church as well as the Holy Guards. After all, it was only a matter of time before Lucifer had to face this holy army. She should have asked me at least one question. She felt offended not to be noticed by Selina. What are you all looking at? She shouted at the customers who were gawking at them instead of buying the pills and potions. They immediately turned their gazes away from her. They all knew her temperament and did not want to piss off this bad-mouthed girl. Well, add new products tomorrow, so don't forget to bring your pay cubes. Instantly her words caused a commotion among the nobles and the rich. Miss, what are the new pills and potions? One of them from the crowd shouted excitedly. There will be wisdom potions, mind control pills, elemental resistance potions, perception pills, hallucination potions, camouflage potions, enhanced healing potion, and the potion you all younglings are desperately waiting for. She paused for a moment, staring at those eyes filled with anticipation. The love potions. Why? Finally! Half of the crowd immediately threw their hands up and cheered. Most of them were single guys, obviously. However, Michael noticed some old grandpas grinning devilishly, which was creepy. Michael and Gaia laughed inside seeing the expressions on their faces. Most of them were thinking love potions would make their crush love them. However, the love potions don't work like that. The love potions would only work on someone if she/he already has some feelings for the other. Using the love potions was fairly simple. One has to put a single drop of their blood and make their crush drink. After drinking, the love potion would intensify the feelings for the other if one has any. For an instance, Selina had no feelings whatsoever for Michael, so no matter how many love potions he makes her drink, she wouldn't fall in love with Michael. However, it was a different matter for Gaia. During the nights, she would debate with herself to find whether she holds any feelings for him or not. It had been almost half a year since she started to be with him. He first rescued her from her fellow Nagas, helped her stay hidden, fed her, and more than anything, by curing her crippled cultivation, he saved her life. She felt it's natural for her to develop feelings for him, but still, she wanted to make sure of it. Hence, she secretly planned to use the love potion on herself. Of course, she still has not completed her plot as the potion required Ghost's blood. By asking him directly, she might get into trouble. After going home, spread the word. Finally, Gaia shouted before leaving for Rivertown with Michael. After the battle with the Netherals, the rumor had spread across the river town that this town is protected by Ghost. Hence many people began to address Ghost as Ghost of Rivertown. Thanks to the rumors, more merchants and adventurers began to stop by Rivertown. Plus, The construction of the new fancy building at the place where Lucky Cat Tavern attracted travelers and such. For those native river town people, the building the dwarven engineer was building for Ghost was nothing but a wonder in their eyes. Even though the workers didn't finish the construction yet, people could tell that it's a marvelous building that would raise the river town's prestige by many folds. Because of the frequent merchant, adventurers, and travelers' visit, the local business boomed. The river town people thanked Ghost for their prosperity, though he practically did nothing for them. He killed those netherals not from but for him. Hey, it's young Master Ghost. Young Master Ghost is back. Good morning, young master. He's so handsome. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 600 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 200 badass points. People on the streets of Rivertown quickly greeted him and Gaia with a wide grin on their faces. Just by walking the streets, his reputation earned him badass points. This was why the system kept urging him to take risks, explore the world, and engage in battles. If this small town could give me 5,000 badass points just by walking through the streets, how much would I earn in the big cities? Michael's eyes glistened in glee. Master Ghost, you're back. Just when he was nearing the Lucky Cat Tavern, he heard a familiar voice and turned to see the golden-haired girl walking towards him, carrying a bunch of iron tools in her hands. How are you, Gloria? Thanks to Master Ghost, I have no worries. Good morning, Miss Elia. She answered Michael with a bright smile, and then she greeted Gaia with the same bright smile. What are these? Asked Gaia. These are tools of Lord Fover. I just went to the smithy to get them fixed. Michael recognized none of these weird tools. He had never even seen them before. His curiosity piqued to see the 3-star builder and the restaurant he was building for them. Chapter 136. The air was filled with hammers hitting the stones and iron. Upon arriving at the construction site, Michael saw the bare bones of the building. The wooden planks, iron beams, and half-built walls which were glistening in the daylight radiated certain charm. The building resembled a rectangular prism. On the long sides, there were 5 arched windows. Each window was approximately 3 m wide and 7 m in height. On the front of the building, there was 1 arched door between arched windows on each side. The building was lifted by a 3 m foundation so one could enjoy the view of the river clearly. On the far end of the building, Michael noticed the vents, stoves, and ovens being built by another set of workers. Michael walked up the few stairs to enter the building when he saw a couple of carriages stopping in front of the building. Both Gaia and Michael frowned at this sight. The carriages had scratches, burn marks, and cuts all over them. It was evident these carriages were attacked. Soon, people slowly came out of the carriages, wounded. This scene attracted the people of Rivertown. Few of them stepped forward to support the wounded soldiers. Gaia's face instantly turned cold the moment she saw the people taking out dead ones from the carriages. All the dead bodies had deep cuts, burned marks, and severed limbs. Following the dead bodies, a short, sturdy man with a large beard jumped out of the carriages, carrying a huge battle axe. The short man compensated for his lack of height with his muscles. The man carried that huge-ass battle axe like it had no weight. Dwarf, Michael mumbled under his breath. This was the first time he had seen a dwarf in real life. The dwarf was exactly like one of the dwarves in the Lord of the Rings movies. Fover, what happened? Gaia asked as the dwarf put the battle axe on the ground, producing a loud thud sound. Bandits happened, lass. Ye told us there be nae bandits between here and Bradford. Bandits? After Jane sent bandits to harass their customers, Gaia personally went to the forests surrounding the Sunrise sect as well as the forests surrounding the river town to kill every single bandit. She was sure there are no bandits to harass them until now. Fucking bloody beastmen ambushed us near the moon goddess temple. These puny humans stood nae chance against their guerrilla attack, cursed Fover, failing to notice Michael in the heat of the moment. Beastmen wouldn't usually enter a human kingdom. Ghost, we have to investigate this. Only when she mentioned the name Ghost, the dwarf turned his gaze at Michael. For a second, Fover just stared at him to sense his cultivation level. Soon, his eyes slightly widened in surprise. So ye be that famous ghost o' River Town, yeah? Lad, you need to do something about these bandits. They already destroyed most o' the materials I needed to finish the building, destroyed the glasses. I'm gonna rip them to pieces. Veins popped on Gaia's face. Considering this plan of Michael's required more glasses, even than the stones, this shipment was extremely important. These were not normal glasses. The dwarf ordered them, glassmakers, to custom build the glasses, which cost them a huge chunk of gold coins. Go and check out the forests, but I guess they are long gone by now. I have to look, she said, and rushed towards the place where they left the Pegasus. Master Ghost, soon after Gaia left, his two henchmen came towards him. Both Daniel and Ricky suffered wounds. Daniel had a deep cut running across his chest. His brown tunic was drenched in blood while Ricky limped, holding the deep cut on his thigh. Michael quickly willed the system to give him the healing potion in the storage. In a flash, 2 vials of healing potion appeared in his hand. Here, take this. Both of them shuddered. The thought of a single vial of healing potions cost 9,000 gold coins prevented their hands from reaching out to take the healing potions. Drink it, it's an order. Thinking about those bandits who almost killed his 2 loyal men, Michael wanted to flay the bandits alive. He could simply buy materials, but loyal men like them were hard to find. Daniel opened up the vial, slowly pouring the potion into his mouth. Their wounds closed up at a swift pace. The dwarf was surprised he wasted 2 valuable potions on these 2 commoners. After their wounds healed up, Michael retrieved a couple of more healing potions, mix them in the water and distribute the water to the wounded. For those who lost their lives, Daniel and Ricky saw a large pouch of coins appear in his hand. Give their families 2,000 gold coins. His words instantly caused the people to go crazy. There were gasps and muttering among the crowd. Even if they were alive, they wouldn't have earned 1,000 gold coins in their lifetime by working on the construction sites, not to mention 2,000 gold coins. He just changed their lives. With this amount, their families could live their entire lives without ever going to work. As far as he was concerned, if he didn't compensate them with a handsome amount, workers might avoid working for him in the future as they might fear for their lives. But now, they would gladly give their life thinking their families would get richer and live their life with no worries. Many wives would gladly take 2,000 gold coins instead of their drunk husbands any time of the day. After all, for Michael, even 20,000 gold coins weren't much compared to his grand plans. He wanted the restaurant to be up and running as soon as possible. As for those who survived, you will receive 50 gold coins for the inconvenience. Those who survived bowed and grinned in glee despite the excruciating pain. Although it was nowhere near the amount 2,000, at least they lived to enjoy the 50 gold coins. Lad, what a boot me? Ye need ta compensate me too? Asked Fover, smirking. I will compensate you handsomely when you lose a few limbs in the next bandit attack. You were right, I didn't find anything except this. While he was making new batches of pills and potions back at his home, Gaia came rushing into his room. Michael looked at the baby dragon as he hopped towards Gaia and grabbed the medallion in her hand with his mouth. He then whooped back at Michael. The medallion was black, made of high-quality black iron. On its surface, a wolf's head etched onto its surface. Those who attacked Fover is not bandits, human, it's the Grim Reapers. Michael did not utter a word but waited for her to explain. When you need beasts, bandits and problems like that disappear, you go to Adventurers Guild. When you need a noble to disappear or even a king disappear, you go to the Grim Reapers. If you have enough gold coins, no matter what evil shit you want to do, they will do it for you. Someone paid them to attack the shipment, but who? He scratched the baby dragon's chin, thinking about who might have done this deed. The only enemy he had until now was Jane. Obviously, she couldn't have hired the Grim Reapers. He didn't think Selena would have done this either. You said they do anything right? For the right amount, she said. Fover said the glassmakers may have extra supplies we need. Buy them and bring them to Fover personally. What will you do? For now, I will finish all these and then, well, go to Aragoth to seal the deal, said Michael, showing no emotions on his face. So well, do nothing about this? She questioned him, only to see him shake his head. Grim Reapers won't tell us who hired them in the first place, right? The Grim Reapers sounded just like the dark underworld back on Earth. Although he only killed a certain group of people, there were assassins and fixers who would kill or do anything for the right amount, but the dark underworld would not reveal anything about who hired them to do the job to anyone. This secrecy what made the dark underworld extremely powerful, and if his instincts were correct, the Grim Reapers would follow the same rules. His assumption was proven right when she nodded. Nope, those bastards value client confidentiality more than anything. If we went there asking for this information, they would either try to kill us or ban us from using their services in the future. Then there's nothing we can do except trying to hire them to protect our carriages. This might work if this was a one-time task, but if someone hired them to attack our carriages every time, her voice trailed off but the killing intent in her eyes intensified. Then we'll simply hire the adventurers to do the job for now. Gaia creased her brows. What do you mean for now? Today they attacked my men, I won't simply forget it. One day, I'll visit them, kill every single one of the Reapers who did this, not as Ghost but as Lucifer. Gaia grinned devilishly, thinking about the day they'd seek revenge against the infamous Grim Reapers. After Gaia left the room, he finished making pills and potions enough to sustain the Majestic for a week. He stood up, the baby dragon on his shoulder. Ruby Cuisine branch manager, Michael mumbled under his breath, before dashing out of the room. Chapter 137. Inside Michael's house, the trio was laying on the sofa, munching on the egg rolls Raylene prepared for them as snacks. The baby dragon was clutching onto its roll, fretting that Gaia would steal it from him. Both of them just came back home after getting their job done. Fortunately, the glassmakers kept extra custom-made glasses to sell on the sidelines. Therefore, she was able to buy the glasses from them and personally deliver them to Fover, resuming the construction work. Michael, on the other hand, went to Bradford searching for the branch manager of Ruby Cuisine, his one major competitor. Considering the Holy Guards, members of the Guardian Guild, and soldiers were swarming the city, the branch manager came to oversee the business personally. This enabled Michael to disguise himself as passing by and place a surveillance bug he bought from the system on the branch manager. Now he had to link the bug to the monitoring orb. They were already using the monitoring orb to monitor the orc in the abyssal. Give me the orb I gave you. She was keeping the orb in the linked space ring. She flicked her wrist as a white orb filled with smoke appeared on the table before them. The baby dragon let out a hissing sound in a momentary surprise before turning his focus on the roll in his claws. The next moment, Michael placed his hand on the orb, willing the system to establish a connection between the monitoring orb and the bug he placed. Connection successfully established. After he heard the system's now not-so-robotic voice, the white smoke inside the orb slowly faded away to reveal a neatly organized room. On the orb, Michael and Gaia saw a pair of hands up close, writing reports under the candlelight. The pair of hands belonged to the branch manager. Thanks to the bug, they would see anything he sees, listen to anything he listens. For Michael, it reminded him of the first-person games he played back on Earth. You didn't place anything on me, right? Following the branch manager, Michael willed the orb to show the orc. Gaia placed a bug on the orc exactly like the bug Michael placed on the branch manager, and also, with Michael's help, she drew symbols on the walls around the orc. These symbols were practically like the CCTV cameras. They recorded the orc's room, sending a live feed to the monitoring orb. At the moment, they could see the orc scribbling and reading parchments. Gaia bought him those parchments as he wanted them to summon netherals into this world. I still don't trust that orc, human, said Gaia, creasing her brows. We don't need to trust him, we just need his ability to summon netherals. After the system went haywire when he tried to recruit the orc as his subordinate, he ultimately decided not to try that again. That didn't mean he had no ways to make sure the orc stays in line. As far as the orc serves him loyally, Michael would give the orc a seat in the organization in the future. If he didn't, he would simply kill the orc and be done with him. After all, killing netherals was not only the way he could gain experience points. Alright, it's time I met the orc again. Realizing they were preparing to go to a new place, the baby dragon excitedly bounced up and down. Sorry, baby dragon, I can't bring you with me yet. For now, stay with sect leader Claire. The baby dragon protested, but ultimately he nodded like an obedient child. Good boy, Michael patted on his scaly head. He then took the baby dragon with him to drop him off at Claire's home before going to the dark forest. Lord Lucifer, Your Highness. Michael was sitting on his abyssal throne when Dalar came to greet him. Gaia stood beside Michael wearing the female version of Lucifer's suit of armor. Seeing the two pairs of red eyes staring straight at him, Dalar couldn't help but shiver in fear. Dalar sensed the overwhelming power of a core formation level 8 warrior radiating from the woman who called herself the Dark Queen, hence he addressed her as Your Highness. Michael kept gently tapping the dwarven skull attached to the throne's handle. Dalar, how many netherals are you able to summon here? Even without any fear toxin, the voice of Lucifer sent a chill crawling through Dalar's spine. 30 netherals, Lord Lucifer. Dalar stirred, afraid of disappointing the devil in front of him. Unlike the Dark Queen beside Lucifer, Dalar was unable to sense Lucifer's cultivation level. Only a handful of experts were able to hide their cultivation level completely, which meant Lucifer is one of those powerhouses. When Michael upgraded the system to version 2, the masking function's duration was 10 minutes. In version 3, the system was able to mask his cultivation for 20 minutes with a cooldown period of 30 minutes. Their level body strengthening stage, I can summon level 7 netherals, 7,000 for each netheral, 210,000. Just when he was grinning behind the mask in glee, Dalar opened his mouth to ruin the moment. For once a month, Lord Lucifer, incompetent. The moment these words escaped Dalar's mouth, he was pulled by a force towards Dark Queen. She grabbed him by the neck, lifting him in the sky. Your Highness, anything, more dash, let him speak. Queen. Michael liked the name Dark Queen. In the future, when he starts his shadow organization, he would be known as Dark Lord Lucifer while she would be known as Dark Queen after Michael's order. Dalar was thrown away by Gaia like a pebble. Dalar slowly picked himself up, cursing the woman in his heart. State your reason, Dalar. Michael asked without showing his disappointment in his tone. Anything. Summoning more than 30 netherals in a month would alert the Guardians, Lord Lucifer. Somehow, they can detect the trace of the summoning magic. Dalar explained the reason. It was a damn good reason. Though Michael was disappointed at the fact he could only earn 210,000 experience points plus the experience points from absorbing the cores, he decided not to take any chances in greed and get caught by the Guardians. Besides, with this amount of experience points, he would be able to level up every 1 or 2 months. You're too greedy, host. Shut up, system. He scowled back at the system in his mind after hearing its snarky comment. How long will it take to summon the netherals? The ritual will take 30 to 40 minutes, Lord Lucifer. Start the ritual in one of the halls here. Go. He dismissed Dalar with a wave of his hands. After Dalar disappeared from his sight, he willed the system to turn off the masking function. 30 netherals. Is this enough for you to get stronger? What if we mess with his mind and exchange him for a huge-ass pile of gold? She suggested, licking her lips inside the mask. It's enough, Queen. That orc is worth way more than any amount of gold, she sighed and nodded. In her mind, he would be ever wrong, and even if he asked her to follow him into the deepest of hell, she would follow him asking no question. When are you planning to give me one like that? Her eyes were locked onto the black metal coils around his wrist. These coils were not just coils but superconductors that had zero resistance to electrical flow. By sending the electricity created by the spell Ignitia through these superconducting coils and with the help of the system, he was able to create a supermagnet, which was how Michael pulled from the hands of Vundun's men. I need a new weapon system. I can't be seen using a sword. He entered the system store to buy a weapon to use when he turns into Lucifer. What kind of weapon are you looking for, host? Not a sword, but I should be able to utilize my sword mastery when using this weapon. Hearing Michael's preferences, the system began its search. Soon, a glow appeared in front of Michael's eyes as the glow slowly turned into a weapon, a warhammer. The warhammer in front of him was made of entirely black metal. It possessed one blunt dented face with a sharp beak on the opposite side of the blunt face. The warhammer looked heavy, and the glowing inscriptions, runes, and symbols on its surface gave a deadly look to the hammer. Weapon name, Doombringer, Heavy. Class, Rare Upgrade Requirements, 3-star Blacksmith, 3-star Runemaster, Ostium, or the blood of a forest dragon, underworld fire core / ancient ice core price, 14,000 badass points. Does the host wish to buy the Doombringer? Host can trail use the weapon for 10 minutes. A golden notification box with blue letters appeared in front of him. His eyes widened in surprise. System, make the Warhammer look old, ancient, and put it somewhere in my room? So Gaia won't suspect where the Doombringer comes from. Yes, then it will be 14,500 badass points. The system sounded extremely excited for some reason. Do it. Michael long lost his drive to bitch with the system as he calmly said. After exiting the system, he looked up at Gaia. Go and make sure Dalar isn't trying anything funny. What tray you gonna do? It'll be in my room, casting the masking spell on myself again. Don't take longer or I'll start killing them, hee, she teased him before leaving the throne hall to find Dalar. I hope you like Lucifer's new weapon, but if you feel slightly disappointed, I hope you're not. Don't worry, check out the required materials to upgrade the Warhammer. Chapter 138, Look what I found in my room. Michael came to the northern hall in the Abyssal to meet Dalar and Gaia. In his hand, she saw a heavy warhammer. The warhammer seemed ancient, old, and powerful. It was adorned with silvery symbols and runes from the head to tail. Where did you dash? She asked, only to get interjected by Michael. Behind one of the shelves, I think it was left behind by them, he said. Gaia understood that by them he referred to the Order of Death. Dalar, where are the Netherals? The hall was spacious. Just like the hall where there was a small lake and waterfall, this hall was also a pocket dimension. This much space couldn't be explained otherwise. In the center of the hall, a large 7m radius magic circle with runes could be seen. The runes on the circle were glowing, producing a mild humming sound. If you give the world, they will appear here, Lord Lucifer. Dalar bowed deeply. Michael clutched the new warhammer tightly, then he nodded, preparing to slaughter the Netherals, so he could reach the next level. Dalar closed his eyes, muttered a few words. Soon, the circle started to glow brighter and brighter. Boom! The next moment, the golden circle hovered above the ground before exploding into millions of tiny orbs of light. When the light faded away, 30 Netherals with human traits stood at the place where the circle was. Dalar, order them to attack me. These Netherals wouldn't do anything until Dalar ordered them to do something. If Michael only desired experience points, he could have simply let Gaia kill the Netherals, earning the EXP doing nothing. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to increase his sword mastery as well as train his body and mind in a real battle. For an assassin like him, it was essential to train vigorously to keep the skills sharp. Yes, Lord Lucifer, Dalar bowed. Kill him. Gaia creased her brows seeing the orc issuing order to kill him instead of just attacking him. A sudden flash of murderous intent ran across Dalar's face. He quickly hid his internet, but Gaia noticed it. Michael noticed this but said nothing of it. For now, he didn't care about the orc's loyalty. After all, Dalar had to escape the dark forest before even thinking to betray him, except if he wasn't immune to the fear toxin, so escaping was not an option. Step aside. Michael's biceps flexed, stretching his black suit due to the weight of the warhammer. It was damn heavy and required all of his strength to lift it from the ground, yet he didn't use his both arms because in the future he wanted to swing the warhammer in one hand and the sword in the other, or dual-wield 2 warhammers. Gaia was ready to dash forward in case they overwhelmed him with their numbers. After all, he was a body-straightening level 4 warrior while each Netheral was at level 7. Locking their target, all 30 Netherals rushed at him with no strategy or plan. Hands reached out at him to tear him apart. The putrid smell of all the Netherals filled the hall, making Gaia twitch her nose. Death range. The hall became darker around Michael, giving a gloomy feeling to Dalar. Instantly, Michael flexed biceps loosened a bit as his body strength immediately doubled. When the Netherals came closer, he swung the warhammer at one Netheral. The dented face contacted with the Netheral. The power and force were so great as the Netheral's head exploded, splashing black goo, grayish brain matter across. Wow! Even Michael was surprised at the raw power of this warhammer. He felt like breaking an eggshell as he swung the warhammer around him to send 5 Nethers flying. The bone-crunching, blood-splattering sound was like music to his ears. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-refining stage, level 7 Netheral. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 200 badass points. There was no slowing in his movements. He threw the warhammer at the remaining netherils. His throw had enough momentum and power to bash 3 netherils back to back before falling to the ground with a loud thud sound. Dalar expected without his hammer he would be vulnerable, at least a bit, but the next moment Michael lost his warhammer, he grabbed the nearby netheril and used the netheril as a weapon. He swung the netheril, forcing the other netherils to stumble back before ripping the netheril in his hand into 2 bloody pieces. His raw strength stunned Dalar as began to punch the netherils through their chest, grabbing the core in one hand and ripping their heads off in the other. It was a devilish display of brute strength and speed, but behind that brute force, Gaia could see the finesse. Each of his moves was calculated, very well thought. Soon, Michael punched his way through the netherils to his warhammer. Instead of bending his back to pick up the warhammer, he stomped the ground as the force made the warhammer fly right into his hand. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. With a twist, he turned the warhammer to use the pointy head instead of the dented face. Like splitting a wood log into 2, he brought down the warhammer on one unfortunate netheril, except the head did not explode like before, but the head came separately with the warhammer. Another swing sent the head directly toward another netheril before Michael leaping into the air. In the mid-air, Michael grabbed the warhammer using both of his hands, and then he hit the ground with all of his strength. It created a huge powerful shockwave that sent all the surrounding netherils flying into the walls. The entire hall trembled like an earthquake. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Continuous notifications sounded in his mind. He saw the unmoving bodies of netherils lying on the ground in their own pool of black goo. After the shockwave attack, there were only 10 netherils. Some of them had white bloody bones sticking out of their bodies. Let's finish this. Michael grabbed the handle tightly. He then moved towards the only to spiral rapidly with the warhammer pointing at the netherils. His body soon blurred. In Dalar's eyes, Lucifer seemed like have turned himself into a mini-cyclone. The mini-cyclopes turned even darker, splattering black goo and brain matter across when the mindless netherils went straight into the cyclops. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 Netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 5. After smashing all the netherils, he lowered the warhammer, giving his hands the much-needed rest. Maybe another 100 of these can give me a challenge. Dalar shivered after witnessing the display of pure strength and brute force. He was unable to pinpoint Lucifer's true strength, even after this one-side massacre. Lucifer killed those netherals he summoned with no hassle. There was not even a scratch on his body. He used no powerful spells but the warhammer and his own strength. Dalar could tell that those words he just spoke were nothing but true. He doubted even another 100 netherals could make him drop a sweat, let alone kill him. Take this as a reward for what you did. Michael flicked his wrist, taking out a batch of revitalizing pills and arch energy boosters. The batch had 10 of each pill. Since anyone could buy pills from the Majestic, he didn't fret about Dalar connecting Lucifer with Ghost. This will be enough for you to purify your body and help you speed up your cultivation, Michael said, sending the pills floating towards Dalar. Dalar didn't dare to refuse this. He just bowed deeply and accepted the pills. Burn those bodies. After giving one last order to Dalar, he made his way to his room with Gaia following him behind. Chapter 139. Man, we need a butler to maintain this place ASAP. While walking through the cobwebbed corridors of the Abyssal, Gaia said, "Why don't you put up a sexy maid dress instead?" She froze stunned. Behind the mask, he chuckled seeing her reaction. "Why don't you ask Sadie, your pervy fuck?" Michael received a punch on the shoulder for his suggestion from Gaia. "You're still on that?" "Of course I'm still on that. I won't let you sleep around with bitches like her. Don't forget." There was a hint of possessiveness in her voice. In Michael's eyes, she was beyond beautiful, talented, funny. Moreover, she was very supportive of him. In simple terms, she was a perfect wife material for him. Therefore, if she made a move on him, Michael would gladly accept her as his better half. After all, he would choose her anytime over a cold bitch like Alicia any time of the day. "Yes, ma'am," he giggled in return. "Oh?" She was surprised to hear his answer. She thought he would be a jerk and refuse. This gesture of him slightly made her feel elated, thinking that he might have feelings for her. "Good." She put her hand around his neck before giving him a mild headbutt before they went to the teleporter to leave the dark forest. The next day, Michael left the Sunrise sect before the early light, putting on his Neo robes. They didn't use the flying swords but mounted the Pegasus to go to Aragoth. Of course, Gaia packed her snacks, which included varieties of appetizers, desserts, main courses, and beverages to drink. Since this was the baby dragon's first long trip, he was beyond excited. He showed his excitement by showering Michael with kisses and bites. Aragoth was located in Kingdom Draddle. Although Draddle was the nearby kingdom of Bredia, it was still 2 weeks flying from the Sunrise sect. The travel was mostly uneventful unless one counted the baby dragon throwing up occasionally because Gaia did barrel rolls with the Pegasus as well as the baby dragon biting her ears as a payback. 2 weeks later, around noon, Michael, baby dragon, and Gaia had finally arrived at the Aragoth. They landed at the foot of the tallest mountain that resembled the shape of a sword pointing at the sky itself. The surrounding had splendid mountain ranges and tall mountain peaks. The natural arch energy was rich on top of the mountain. The mountains were surrounded by light fog all year long. This place truly gave off a divine and superior feeling. This mountain range was called the Sword Mountains. Countless mountain peaks spread across the top of the Sword Mountain. Just like the founder of the Sunrise sect, it was said that the founder of the Aragoth had also discovered an underground energy vein here. Therefore, he occupied this mountain range and established the eternally prosperous Aragoth. The energy vein, aside from it being able to provide the best cultivation environment and gather natural energies, was also a representation of fortune. Many powerful sects and families had occupied land with energy veins. This was the reason why they were eternally prosperous and had produced countless geniuses. Another stunning place. Michael and baby dragon stared at the beautiful scenery filled with light fog. He couldn't help but praise it. "Hoo," baby dragon nodded, basking in the beauty. "Stop staring, you two. This is nothing compared to the Dash. Nagaland, yeah, I know. You've said this almost 100 times now," Michael interjected, teasing her with a chuckle. She rolled her eyes and descended to the ground. "Go no further." Just when they had ascended half the mountain, they heard a loud shout. and then 3 young men dressed in white clothes with a symbol sword etched on their chests walked towards them with arrogant expressions. Identify yourselves and state your reason to be here at Aragoth. Is that a dragon? Michael's vision landed upon these 3 men, and he instantly discovered that they were only body-refining stage warriors. They were probably amateurs, as talented disciples of the Outer Circle wouldn't be guarding the entrance here. However, as the disciples of Aragoth, even just being a novice disciple would be enough to make anyone proud of themselves. There were talented people amongst the novice disciples, and many of the current Outer Circle disciples and Inner Circle disciples were actually novice disciples at one point. Hiss! The baby dragon hissed when he noticed the youngster reaching out to touch him. The youngster quickly took his hand back in sudden shock. It's okay, baby dragon. Michael brushed the baby dragon's chin, reassuring him before looking back at the 3 disciples. Name is Ghost, and I'm here to meet your fellow disciples, Nathan Bradley. When hearing the names Ghost and Nathan, those who had an arrogant look on their faces immediately had a change in expression. Their faces turned gray, and they wished to slap themselves a few times. The young man in the center bowed his head. Brother Ghost, forgive us for not recognizing you. Senior brother Nathan told that you would come to meet him in this part of the land. Michael's name was not as famous as Noah's because Noah traveled to many places, killing people, making enemies left and right. In fact, he was on the wanted list of Aragoth before he joined the Guardians. However, these 3 were able to recognize Michael as they had close ties to the students of alchemy. Although Michael was unable to keep himself hidden from the world like back on Earth because of the system, he still liked to keep a low profile and make as few enemies as possible, unlike Noah. They followed the disciples through the paved roads into the intersection of the sect. Soon, they walked under the arch of the gate to discover wonderful and magnificent palaces. Cool, when he saw these parks, buildings, and rivers, he couldn't help but be amazed. Everything was perfect. The architecture of each building had its own magnificent style. Right at this moment, 2 Outer Circle disciples walked up from ahead. When they saw Michael, unlike these 3, they immediately recognized him and greeted him with eyes full of admiration and awe. Heavens! He is Ghost, the ghost of River Town. He looks so young, perhaps only 19 to 20 years old. What is that on his shoulder? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! It's a dragon! I heard he killed a body-strengthening warrior while he was only at the foundation stage. This man looks so delicate and handsome, it's hard to think that he is such a fierce man. Oh my god, I want to hold that dragon in my hands. Look at that chick beside him, she looks hot. I still can't believe he's a 5-freaking-star alchemist. Teacher Olivia won't shut up about him. That's it, I think she actually invited him here to give a special lecture to alchemy students. Lower your voice, idiot. Do you know how many young masters lost their lives coveting beauties like her? Ghost is so handsome, it would be nice if I could be his girlfriend. Shut up, slut. I heard Sadie and he has a thing between them. Why is he here? The surrounding disciples' discussions became heated. Although people were communicating privately with quiet voices, he had good hearing, so he heard every single word spoken. He couldn't help but laugh and shake his head. Among all these conversations, Gaia's ear twitched when she heard the 2 disciples mention the name Olivia. Her female instincts kicked in, thinking that Olivia might try to flirt with Ghost. Obviously, his fame of being the 5-star alchemist was spread across the alchemy circle of Aragoth. All right, carry on with your own matters. Brother Ghost has gone through a long journey. I will need to bring him to senior brother Nathan's residence. In the future, if you have any questions regarding alchemy, I'm sure Brother Ghost will show you some guidance during his stay. The leading disciple waved at the disciples, then he continued leading him to the inner part. Along the way, they met several disciples who had been admiring him as a 5-star alchemist. All of them happily greeted him and were stunned looking at the baby dragon. The disciples of the Aragoth weren't idiots. Pleasing him may not give them any advantages, but it surely wouldn't bring them any disadvantages either. Eventually, they passed the area where all the living quarters of students were located. Behind the living quarters, a very fine courtyard was built. It was located at the top of the mountain, isolated from the living quarters area. Compared to the old shaggy home of his in the Sunrise sect, The house in front of looked like a palace. It was not suitable to call it a home but a bungalow. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and there was even a waterfall nearby. The scene was very soothing, the natural arch energy was rich, and it was isolated from all the noise coming from the living quarters area. This was simply the best place for cultivation, not that Michael needed a place like this to cultivate. Wait here, Brother Ghost, I'll go inside and bring senior brother Nathan. Cool. Michael stood there basking in the beauty while the trio of disciples went towards Nathan's house to inform him. Nathan's not home, Riker. Michael turned his gaze away from the waterfall to see a couple of girls walking towards him, shouting at the trio of disciples who were knocking on the door. They failed to notice Michael on the sidelines. Instead, they shouted at the trio. Teacher Olivia is making every disciple take the potion exams. Thank the sun god we were able to escape before she locks us in the potion lab. Chapter 140 Potion Exams? Right now? The trio of disciples stepped back from Nathan's home. They walked towards the girls while Michael silently watched this scene unfold. Holy shit, then we also have to run away from Teacher Olivia. She forces every student to take these bloody alchemy exams, even those who don't take alchemy. Bloody hell. There was genuine fear in those disciples' faces. Brother Go Dash, it's okay. Just point me in the direction of the potion lab, Michael chuckled, asking the disciple to show him the way while they escaped this dreaded exam of Olivia. Ghost. How long were you? The three girls were stunned to hear the voice from behind. They turned back, almost jumping back in shock. Hello, Michael gave a short wave at the girls who were staring at him and the dragon with open mouths. Instantly their faces turned red as they started breathing heavily. What? You haven't seen a guy before? Gaia got irritated looking at these girls almost having an orgasm just by checking him out. Her voice immediately brought back the girls from their trance. Cold sweats could be seen on their rosy cheeks. They stuttered, "Oh, sorry Brother Ghost. Can you give us an autograph?" One of the girls reached her hand out while the other handed him over the quill. Sure, only on hands. Gaia saw one girl lowering her top to show off her cleavage. She knew the girl was going to ask him to sign her ample chest, but Gaia's eyes made the girl correct her dress in an instant. Lucky bastard, thought the three male disciples, sighing in envy noticing the fire in the girl's eyes. Ooh. After the disciples showed him the direction to go to the potion lab, they ran as fast as they could to escape the exams. While he was on the way, the baby dragon nudged his ear, making a weak groan. What's he saying? He said that he wants to sleep. She didn't even turn to look at the baby dragon on his shoulder, she just shrugged and said, "Are you okay?" Michael creased his brows, asking the baby dragon to see him nod his little head. Well, you must have been tired. Michael gently grabbed the baby dragon. He then placed the baby dragon in his coat inner pocket, the baby dragon's favorite cozy place to snuggle and sleep. Who is this Olivia? Michael asked surprised. A few moments ago, this place was buzzing with disciples and life, but now, it turned into a ghost town. Not a single disciple could be seen roaming outside except for Gaia and him. Do you think she's beautiful? He asked, teasing her for his time pass. Why do you ask? He could hear the gritting sound of her teeth. She clenched her fist, ready to pounce him if he tried to bang Olivia, just like he did with Sadie. What do you think? He said, slyly winking at Gaia to flame the fans of her jealousy. Just like he planned, she gnashed her teeth. You lecherous fuck. She couldn't control herself after seeing that wry smile on his face. She put her head into his arms and started to punch him on his gut. Of course, she didn't use her full strength but only enough to hurt him a little. Michael on the other hand laughed and kept knocking her on the head. Ouch, squealed Gaia, continuing to rain punches on his gut. You too. Suddenly a shout came from their back while they were playing. They immediately stopped what they were doing. They turned back to see a green-haired woman with an almost perfect hourglass figure walking towards them. Her shiny lush green hair fluttered in the wind. The golden robes were contrasting to her hair. She seemed to be in her early 30s or late 20s in Michael's eyes. She was a tad bit shorter than both Michael and Gaia, plus, she had hazel eyes behind those round glasses, sharp eyebrows. She was beautiful, not on the same level with Gaia or Alicia or even Claire, but she was definitely prettier than Selena or Nyla. Many loved green or pink-haired girls, but he always held a thought that these hair colors are just weird and spoil a girl's beauty. Michael looked closer, tracing the arch energy in her body to find she was at core formation level 7, only a few months cultivation away from reaching the next level. Where do you think you two are going? Who dash? Gaia's question was interjected by the woman. Shut up, I don't want to hear any excuses, you can't escape this exam. Michael realized this woman is the famous teacher Olivia who made the disciples shudder in fear. But we are dash. Again, the woman stopped Gaia before she could finish her sentence. She stared at Michael for a moment before speaking. You must be one of those disciples who think so highly of themselves because of their talent for cultivation. He knew there's no stopping this lady as she went on. You may know hundreds of powerful battle spells, but no spell would close a wound in your body. If you don't have a basic knowledge of alchemy to find a herb with healing properties, you sir will die. Unless, of course, someone bails you. You rich kids always need saving, no self-dependence at all. Gaia wanted to slap Olivia to make her stop, but Olvia's status as a teacher of Aragoth saved her from getting smacked from Gaia. If you don't finish brewing a basic healing potion by the end of this day, you won't have any resources for your cultivation for the next 2 months, plus, detention, lady. The moment Gaia opened her mouth to address her as lady, Olivia grabbed the snake's ear, twisted it. The girls are worse than the boys, no respect for their teachers. Michael wanted to save Gaia, but his instincts told him to exploit Olivia's misunderstandings to earn some sweet badass points. Shut up and come with me. Take your hands off me, human. Human? What are you, miss? Olivia kept twisting her ears while walking towards the potion lab. Calm down, Ilya. Michael controlled the urge to burst into laughter seeing Gaia receiving a taste of her own medicine from Olivia. You bastard, lady you're. What a foul-mouthed girl. It seems I need to teach you some discipline too. Realizing that her human wouldn't save her and she beat the heck out of this teacher because of her status, Gaia gritted her mouth. No more curses came out of her mouth. Coming. Let go. Eventually, after walking for a few minutes, Olivia let go of Gaia's ear after she asked her to. On their way to the potion lab, Olivia hunted down a few other disciples who were unfortunate enough to get caught. Olivia chewed them down, explaining why alchemy is important for all of them regardless of which specialization the disciples preferred. Michael realized that she's trying to make alchemy a compulsory subject in Aragoth. Many displeased seemed to disagree with Olvia's plan, but Michael could only pity these ignorant disciples. Before learning alchemy through the system, even he was ignorant of the power of alchemy, but soon he was proven wrong, very wrong. Alchemy was such an overpowered skill to have. He knew potion or pills to overcome almost every problematic situation. If you want to temporarily increase the cultivation level, there was a potion for that. Are you born ugly? Don't worry, there's a pill to make a girl pretty and a boy handsome. You want to fake death? There's a pill for that too. Michael thought. If one was willing to make a necessary sacrifice, one could do anything with alchemy. Even though many would argue that rune mastery was the most overpowered specialization, Michael would argue otherwise because his most powerful weapon was created through alchemy, the fear toxin, not to mention he was earning a shitload of gold coins because of his alchemy skills. Of course, he couldn't care less if they don't want to learn alchemy. After all, the fewer the alchemists in this world, the more the demand for him. Intentionally walked behind all the disciples so they wouldn't recognize him too soon, spoiling the upcoming badass points fest. Olivia had no idea that her idol, the man who she was trying to meet in person ever since she heard about him, was just walking behind her. If she had known it was him, she would have freaked out. Eventually, Michael reached a tall building with an attractive lawn in front of it. The lawn itself showed the prestige of Aragoth as he saw many expensive, uncommon herbs planted as mere decoration. They soon entered the building following Olivia. The air inside was filled with a medicinal fragrance of herbs and alchemy ingredients. They walked into the open door to the wide hallway. Upon the walls were the paintings of older men whom Michael guessed as some famous alchemists. The floor was an old-fashioned parquet with a blend of deep homely browns, and the walls were the greens of summer gardens meeting a bold white baseboard. Finally, after walking through the corridors, they came in front of a classroom and saw the words Potion Classroom written in beautiful calligraphy on the wall above the large green door. Here we go, Michael was hit by massive nostalgic memories of Harry Potter as he stepped into the potion classroom with a faint smile on his face. The classroom was large enough to allow at least 50 students to work, and its walls were lined with pickled creatures and weird-looking herbs in glass jars. In one corner of the room stood a basin into which bluish water poured from a gargoyle's mouth, while in another was a line of 6-feet-tall cupboards. The students who were already inside the classroom were so focused on the task on their hands as they even ignored looking at the newcomers. On the far end of the room, one of the busy students was Nathan. Just like others, he failed to notice Michael among the crowd. Closing the door, Olivia went straight to the long wooden table under a giant statue of a tree. She then flicked her wrist as rows of herbs and ingredients appeared on the table. "Those who are my students, brew a disease cure potion while the others brew a basic healing potion. You can refer to the books on the cupboard over there," she said, pointing at the lines of cupboards. Chapter 141. Keep your eyes on the cauldron. When a few disciples looked up, taking their eyes away from their table, Olivia shouted at them, making them quickly look down. Michael's eyes were on Nathan, but the young master of House Bradley was busy trying to figure out the right Didya leaves to Ivory ration. For a 5-star alchemist like Michael, the disease cure potion was a child's play, but Nathan and these disciples were not 5-star alchemists. "Go on, take your ingredients," Olivia said, looking at her alchemy students while the others rushed towards the cupboards, cursing Olivia under their breaths. The alchemy students buried to the table to pick the freshest of the herbs. "I'm partnering with him," said Gaia stubbornly. "All right, since you two aren't alchemy students, I'll let you partner up, but I want 2 healing potions," Olivia said, raising 2 fingers in the air. He just nodded at Olivia. Walking to the table, he saw the leftover herbs. "What are you doing?" "First, you need the basic book of alchemy," Olivia said while Michael was looking at the herbs and ingredients before him on the table. "I think I can brew a simple potion without a book, Teacher Olivia." He was not trying to sound arrogant, but in Olivia's eyes, his tone and look seemed extremely arrogant. "Oh, a simple potion, huh? Let me see your alchemy prowess." It was evident she didn't like the way he talked. She made it obvious by her sarcastic tone. She wanted to teach this arrogant bastard a lesson after he failed miserably. However, the next moment, he surprised her by picking up the right herbs from the table. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. Hold this. Michael handed over the herbs to Gaia. He then rolled up his sleeves before conjuring the green alchemy flames. Wait. Olivia was stunned knowing that the green flames couldn't be summoned by anyone except alchemists. Olivia's shout broke many disciples' concentration. They instantly looked up in the direction of the commotion to see her staring at the green flames hovering above a black-robed youth's hands in shock. "Don't try this anywhere." Before Olivia could stop him, all the ingredients flew straight into the green flames. "Ghost," from the distant Nathan recognized him immediately. "You need a cauldron." Olivia shouted at him, but she soon closed her when a fist-sized ball of pure essence floated above the green flames. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 800 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 200 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. His lips curved upwards. He would never get tired of this sweet notification sound, no matter how many times he hears it. One by one, the essence shot above the green flame. Olivia was speechless. She just stared at the pure essence above the green flames. One could not extract the essence from the herbs with this much purity unless he's a godly-level genius. Besides, he used the technique of extracting the essence using no cauldron. She didn't know anyone who could do that except one person, Ghost. But how could he be here? She thought. In the next moment, all the 11 essences that were floating above came closer to merge as one big ball of the essence. Michael flicked his wrist. The green flames slowly faded away. "Bring me 5 vials," she said to Gaia. making her lock eyes with the girls staring at him from the front table. She went straight to those disciples and took their vials, asking no permission. "Give me those." The girls were too focused on Michael to protect their empty vials from Gaia. Under the shocked gazes of Olivia as well as the disciples, Michael moved his hand, splitting the one ball of essence into 5 balls before sending them flying into the empty vials. How did he? Look at the purity. Who is he? So handsome, so talented, huh? I never thought I would see a day. Teacher Olivia shut her mouth. Teacher Olivia is 4-star alchemist, but I have never seen her brew that potion this quickly. So you're saying? I know him. He's Ghost of River Town, the 5-star alchemist of Breedia? The second best alchemist of Breedia. Instantly the previous silent classroom filled with murmuring. Few who recognized Michael shouted in shock. Olivia leaned on the table to prevent her body from falling down in overwhelming shock. You asked me 2 potions. Herace 5-inch. The 5 vials of glistening healing potions flew right into her hands as she subconsciously reached out to grab the potions. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 800 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. The notification sounds went crazy in his head, making him earn almost 8,000 badass points in a couple of seconds. Our name is Ghost. Teacher Olivia, it's a pleasure to meet you, he said with a warm smile on his face. Well, not for me, Gaia said, rubbing her reddened ear. Olivia showed an expression of embarrassment. The Dispels, witnessing their teacher's face turning red, didn't know whether to laugh or not. The disciples closest to Olivia knew that ever since this ghost appeared out of nowhere and proved himself as a 5-star alchemist, Olivia was talking non-stop about him, the method he was using to brew potions and concoct pills. She even paid a merchant a whopping amount of 12,000 gold coins for his healing potion, not because she has too many gold coins but because she wanted to get her hands on the potions as soon as possible. The only thing that stopped her from traveling to the Sunrise sect was her busy schedule. Since the alchemy competition of Kingdom Kethan was just around the corner, she had to prepare her students for the competition. She was studying the potion, and few female disciples suspected that she was studying the potion and him. Only because Nathan was one of her closest and top disciples, he knew about her interest in Ghost's alchemy talents and promised him to get the contract for supplying alchemy products for the outer circle. Michael had no idea that he has an admirer, a die-hard fan in Aragoth. The pleasure is all mine. Lord. Sir. Master, she stuttered, searching for the right word to address him by. Ghost would do just fine, Teacher Olivia, he chuckled when calling her teacher. Although she was a 4-star alchemist who is just a 1-star away from reaching 5-star, everyone knew the gap between a 4-star and a 5-star is like heaven and hell. Only a few 4-star alchemists reached the 5-star in their lifetime, while others just died as a 4-star in old age. Reaching the next star level was damn hard regardless of their talent. It required guidance, a humongous amount of resources, and hard work. For Olivia, the latter two weren't a problem, but the first one, guidance. That was why she was hoping to meet Ghost. She wanted to study alchemy from him as his disciple. She was willing to pay any price except her body, of course. I can't, she shook her head. Ghost. While Olivia was struggling to find a way to ask him what she wants, Nathan came to greet Michael and also break the news to Michael. Michael greeted him back with a smile. Unlike the previous events, Nathan too widely grinned at him in return. Do you know him? Olivia asked, surprised. Nathan nodded and spoke. Teacher, Ghost, if you follow me, lead the way. Before Olivia could ask further questions, Michael gestured at him to lead the way while Olivia followed him behind to her room, which was located adjacent to the potion classroom. Walking behind them, Gaia creased her brows. She could tell by looking at Olivia's body language that she needed something from him. As long as it was not a place at Michael's heart, she might consider giving it to her, if she was willing to pay the right price. Until she came to Aragoth, she only wanted to test herself whether she has deep feelings for Michael using the love potion, but after seeing the way these girls look at him, She wanted to check if he has any feelings for her before some girl steals him from her. Having more than one wife was normal, but Gaia didn't want to share his soul mate with anyone else. She would rather kill all her competitions than share him. If he tried to find another love anywhere else after sealing the deal with her, she would leave him after killing that girl. In simple words, she hated harems. After leaving Aragoth, she decided not to waste any more time. The first thing she wanted to do after reaching Sunrise Sect is to find a way to make him drink the love potion. Of course, Michael did not know what this snake was scheming inside her head. He was too busy imagining the rain of gold coins he would receive after signing the contract with Aragoth. Chapter 142. Olivia's room was a textbook definition of a girl's room, alphabetically ordered book on the book rack. Paintings of her role models who were some old men adorned the pinkish walls while a faint fragrance of forest roses permitted the air. In the center of the room, a round sofa and a glass tea table could be seen. Obviously, the sofa was not as nearly fancy or luxurious as the sofas in Michael's room. Compared to those, what was in front of them was mediocre, at best. On the corner stood a tall table where Gaia saw lines of expensive liquors. She then changed her gaze towards the corner, gazing at the vials of perfumes. She inhaled deeply only to be overwhelmed by the fragrance those small vials were radiating. Expensive liquors, honest brand perfumes. This bitch is rich. The latter changed Gaia's expression significantly because honest was a brand used by only the richest, such as the royal family of a powerhouse kingdom and powerful female cultivators. An ordinary noble or even a queen of a small kingdom had no chance of getting an honest perfume. Gaia hated spending her own money in extravagances like that. Instead, she always used the money to bribe ministers to extend her power in her father's regime or bought cultivation resources. It was Zanali, her stepsister, who would spend a large number of gold coins in just perfume bottles alone. Because of that, Gaia knew about the cost of honest perfumes. After spending the last 6 months with Gaia closely, Michael learned to read even the smallest changes in her face. He could tell by looking at her face that she's yelling Olivia seemed to be crazy rich, human. Please, make yourselves home. Olivia gestured at Michael to take a seat as she went to the liquor stand to pour him a drink. Just hot water with a few drops of angel lime for me and Elia, said Michael after noticing a crown-shaped fruit in one of the herb pots. Oh. Olivia was surprised but quickly grabbed one of the fruit and poured their drinks. What happened? Nathan asked with a slightly amused smile on his face. Michael began to explain the events before the potion brewing after Olivia gave him the drink with an embarrassed smile. Teacher, you should really stop making other disciples take alchemy tests, Nathan said, chuckling at his teacher's little adventure with Ghost. All disciples should at least have basic knowledge in alchemy, Nathan. I keep telling this to the higher-ups but they just don't listen. In some situations, a simple potion or pill might save one's life. Am I right? She asked looking at Michael. Her smile grew bigger seeing him nod in approval. Speaking of alchemy, Nathan, his voice trailed off. Knowing the meaning of his words, Nathan turned his gaze towards Olivia. Oh, the contract. Wait a sec. Teacher, tell me where it is. I'll go. She quickly waved at him before he could stand up. It's okay. Teacher Harms has the contract. I'll get it. Nathan nodded, realizing she wants him to open the matter of tutoring her. After Olivia left the room, Michael opened his mouth before Nathan. She wants something, am I right? Nathan was taken aback by surprise, but soon he chuckled. That obvious, huh? Yep. Look, Ghost, I don't like to beat around the bush. The contract is yours. Teacher Olivia is the one who decides who gets the contract, and when I recommended you, she immediately signed the contract, no questions asked. If you just want this one contract for the outer circle, you can take this and go, no one will stop you, but what? Gaia asked, not showing any expression of annoyance on her face. Michael did not utter any word, he just waited for Nathan to tell him what she wanted from him. She's hoping to become your disciple, Ghost. Michael couldn't help but be surprised by this sudden request while Gaia sighed in relief. For a moment, she thought that Oliva would like to become one of his wives. That's unexpected. Michael rubbed his chin, weighing the pros and cons of taking her in as his disciples. Tell us about her more. Gaia took the initiative to ask Nathan. Michael sensed the snake had hatched a plot to take advantage of Olivia. This was why he loved to have her around. Well, Nathan started to tell them about Olivia, sighing in relief that Ghost didn't refuse to tutor her right off the bat. A few minutes after Nathan finished telling them about Olivia, both Michael and Gaia had a wide grin on their faces. According to Nathan, Olivia was the daughter of Reginald Palmer, the vice president of the Rainshade, one of the influential merchant guilds in the entire Elon continent. This explained the expensive liquors and bottles of honest perfumes. Taking in a teacher of Aragoth already outweighed the cons, but her status as the daughter of Reginald Palmer sealed the deal for Michael. Soon in the future, he would expand his alchemy business. At that time, instead of building an infrastructure of large-scale business from the ground up, he could use the Rainshade to grow his business. After all, supplying products to all corners of the continent was not as simple as selling them in the Majestic. What made him more excited thinking about the future was Nathan's family, the House of Bradley. The House Bradley's main source of income was providing security. They were basically a private security firm of this world with many powerful individuals among them. With House Bradley and Rainshade, he would be able to get his business up and running without worrying about security or nooks and crannies of business. Besides, by taking Olivia as his disciples, the Sunrise sect would automatically become a place under Aragoth's protection. He needed some kind of protection if he wanted to keep his herbal garden from getting robbed by some powerful rogue cultivators. Moreover, Olivia was at core formation level 7, who would definitely have some devastating spells to destroy his enemies, if he needed her to. If everything goes according to his plans, in the future, he would make Olivia his subordinate and appoint her as the head of the alchemy chains in his business empire. Both Michael and Gaia looked at each other. A wolf-like smile flashed across their faces. Imback. Just in time, Olivia entered the room. Her smile froze on her face after she noticed everyone's eyes on her. She assumed that Nathan had asked Ghost about tutoring her while she was away. What's it gonna be, Ghost? Olivia's heart began to punch against her chest. She shivered, looking at Michael. She very well knew that this could be a life-changing moment for her. Why don't you step forward and ask me yourself? When he first met her, she was like a fierce lioness, scaring all the disciples, but now, she turned into a meek cat. She slowly stepped forward, praying to her sun god that he would accept her as his disciple. For her, his age or where did he learn what he does didn't matter. All she wanted was to learn what he knows, at least a drop of his ocean of knowledge. Nathan almost jumped back when Olivia dropped to her knees. Will you please accept me as your disciple and impart your knowledge in alchemy to me? She bowed her head, directly coming to the point without beating around the bush. Michael looked at Gaia to see her nod, and then he spoke in a clear voice. If I accept you as my disciples, will you obey me and my friend here? Nathan slightly frowned when he saw him asking Olivia, a core formation cultivator, to obey a mere body refining stage cultivator, but he remained silent. Yes, however, Olivia said, taking not even a second to think. Will you remain loyal to your teacher? Her heartbeat increased every passing second. I will forever be loyal to my teacher. Will you disclose the knowledge you get from me without my permission? Again she took no time before answering him. I will not. Michael raised her chin to see the honesty in her eyes. In those hazel eyes, he saw nothing but a thirst for knowledge. Then I will accept you as my first student, Olivia Palmer. The very next second, her eyes welled up, body trembled. She was overwhelmed by joy. Soon, tears rolled down on her rosy cheeks. Thank you, teacher. Despite his age or cultivation level, she uttered the word teacher with utmost respect and admiration. My fee is, in the future when I need, promise me that you'll do your best to assist us. Of course, Michael was not doing this out of the goodness in his heart, but he was planning to catch the big fish with the small fish. In this case, the big fish was her father's favor while the small fish was his fee of teaching her. I promise you, teacher, you can count on me. His image in her heart grew taller after hearing that he will not be greedy and sell the knowledge for gold coins. However, Nathan somewhat refused to believe Ghost completely because he did not seem like the man who would do charities, yet Nathan said nothing. As far as he was concerned, everyone got what they wanted. Olivia became Ghost's student. He kept his word by getting Ghost the contract he promised. This was a win-win situation for everyone. Nathan, give this to the sect leader. After wiping off the tears on her face, Olivia retrieved a letter from her space ring. "What is that?" Michael asked before she could hand the letter over to Nathan. "My resignation letter, teacher. I can't teach while studying under you." "No, you can't resign." Michael almost blurted out blood after hearing her. She almost poured mud on his perfect plan. Chapter 143. People learn the most when teaching others, Michael quickly said calmly despite the shock he just got from Olivia. "Until I say so, continue to teach. I'm very sure the sect leader won't like losing a teacher like you." How hard would it be to build a one-man portal connecting Aragoth and the Sunrise sect? Gaia asked a rhetorical question as Nathan threw in its doable look. In this world, a portal was used to travel from one place to another in an instant by temporarily creating a gateway between two places. This method of traveling was not without its downfalls. One of those downfalls was, the longer the distance and the bigger the portal, the more unstable the gateway. Also, building a portal between two places required an immense amount of rare resources and at least a 3-star alchemist, depending on the portal's distance and size. As the name suggests, the mini-portal could only let one person travel through 1 or 2 times a day. These were the reasons why Michael didn't bother to build a portal between the Sunrise sect and the Dark Forest. Moreover, there was already a teleportation array in the Abyssal. Only if he could repair the array, he would be able to travel to any corner of the world in an instant, as the array in Abyssal was a powerful, intricate array. According to the system, he needed either a 5-star runemaster or system level 5.0 to completely repair the array. For now, Michael had no urgent need for this teleportation array or a portal. Instead, he wanted to buy a teleportation skill and upgrade it to the level where he could travel anywhere before one could snap. Although lightning dash was fast, teleporting was faster and more badass. "They are right, teacher. Sect Master would definitely build a mini-portal for you to travel between. Besides, who would teach and prepare us for the Kethan competition if you resigned?" Nathan did not even need to ask whether Ghost would teach them or not, as he already knew the answer. No, he won't. Nathan was right, because Michael would rather eat, sleep and train rather than prepare a bunch of youngsters for a competition. "How much time do you spend here teaching?" Michael asked. 3 hours a day. "I'll spend the rest of my day cultivating and studying," Olivia said with a faint smile on her face. Just by looking at her face, Michael could tell that the higher-ups would definitely build her a portal. After all, resources and gold coins were not something Aragoth lacked. "All right, take a few days to settle everything here. I'll come pick you after I visited Nathan's home." Nathan didn't forget that his uncle asked Ghost to visit him as soon as he finishes cultivating. However, Nathan creased his brows after he heard him. "Didn't you say you were going to break through?" "I did." The very next moment, Nathan looked closer at the flow of Ghost's arch-energy. "Whoa!" Nathan's eyes widened. Looking at Nathan, Olivia looked closer at Ghost to be startled by his cultivation level. "Teacher, I thought you were." "Teacher, you? How?" Olivia was speechless. She heard from Nathan that Ghost was at level 10 body refining stage while they were in Nether Realm. It was only a few days after they came out, yet he jumped from body refining stage level 10 to body strengthening stage level 5. This was too much. This was a heaven-defying cultivation speed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 1,200 badass points. Nathan's world was spinning around him, making him hard to stand still. Olivia, on the other hand, was overwhelmed by shock and joy because she could not only learn alchemy but also cultivation tricks from him. "I hit a jackpot. I'm really lucky," Olivia said to herself. She was not the only one who felt lucky. Nathan's inner voice reminded him about the competition for the next head of House Bradley. If he could utilize Ghost's friendship correctly, he might get an edge over all his rivals for the head seat. He began to plot his own plans, keeping Ghost in his mind while Michael plotted to use both Olivia and Nathan to expand his influence. Everyone in the room had their own plans. Using each other, they wanted to move forward in their life. Michael would have definitely supported in any way he can to make Nathan the next head of Bradley, because he would rather deal with the devil he knows than an unknown devil. "When can we leave, Nathan?" Michael asked, bringing Nathan back from his trance. Tomorrow morning dash. Nathan was intercepted by a sudden cry that came from Michael's chest. Teacher! Olivia jumped back when she saw something inside Michael's chest trembling violently. Michael's face turned dark, feeling the baby dragon in his pocket twitching frantically. When he put his hand inside to take out the baby dragon, a warm yet cold liquid touched his skin. He gently took out the baby dragon to see it was bleeding. The baby dragon's scales had become gray and he was bleeding through all of his pores on the body. Teacher, is that a dragon? Holy shit it is, Nathan exclaimed. Baby dragon, what's happening to him? Michaels felt dread in his core staring at the baby dragon who laid on his hand, eyes closed, body twitching. In a couple of seconds, the remaining crimson scales also turned gray. System. Michael screamed in his head, calling the system for help. The system is in safe mode. Unable to answer host's question while in safe mode. Michael felt his training to keep himself calm despite the situation being tested by the system at this exact moment. He took a few deep breaths after exiting the system. Let me see, Gaia creased her brows, reaching out to feel the baby dragon's body. Olivia and Nathan stood there speaking no words because they knew something bad happening to the baby dragon. Since they did not know a way to help, they kept their mouth shut. I'll give him a healing potion, Michael said, readying himself to use the healing potion on the baby dragon. No, stop it. Gaia stopped him and continued to run her fingers through the blood-covered body of the baby dragon. After a few minutes under the gazes of the three, Gaia sighed. Ghost, he's a death-kissed dragon. What do you mean? He's dying. Michael's heart jumped a beat hearing her. Although he only spent a short amount of time with the baby dragon, he felt deeply connected to the dragon. He could not simply forget the dragon's face or the times he played with him. The baby dragon made him happy, light-hearted. Michael knew the dragon loved him more than he loved himself. Maybe it was because both of them were abandoned as a child, never knowing their parents made their bond stronger. Tell me there's a way to cure him. There's no cure for death kiss, ghost. I thought it was weird that he could not fly or absorb arch energy like us, Gaia said. Ever since she met this baby dragon, he couldn't fly like any baby dragons of his age. He would always hop like a bunny to move around. She also noticed that the baby dragon would often fall asleep, spending most of the day sleeping. However, she never thought he was death-kissed. It made sense why Ghost never met the mother dragon near the baby dragon. The reason for that was the mother dragon sensed the death kiss on him and threw him away. It was really unfortunate as only one dragon in a million would get death-kissed. Teacher, Olivia called. Her tone was suppressed, fearing any wrong word would make him mad. Michael turned his gaze away from the baby dragon to Olivia while still cradling the unconscious baby dragon in his hand. There might be someone who could help him. Who? Michael asked. Finally, a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. In Royal Land, there's someone called the Doctor. I heard he could perform miracles, cure many incurable diseases, yet many would say he's a myth, but if he's not, maybe he could cure him. I heard about him. Nathan nodded after he heard Olivia. I heard about him too, but even if he could cure him, how do we find the doctor? As you just said, he might be a myth. I have to look for him. I will look for him, and if he exists, I will find him. Michael wasn't in the mood for second-guessing. He wanted to save the baby dragon, any means necessary. But until he could find a way to save the baby dragon permanently, he needed to keep him alive. How much time does he have? Michael asked, looking at Gaia, who clearly knew more about dragons than the three of them combined. In his condition, we can keep him barely alive for another 3 weeks tops, Gaia said as she took out a healing potion from her space ring and poured it over the baby dragon. The grayish scales barely showed a glimpse of the crimson red underneath. We need to do this at least 10 times a day. Nathan raised his brows slightly. A single healing potion cost 9,000 gold coins. This meant Ghost would spend 90,000 gold coins on the baby dragon to keep him alive. This amount was for a single day. If Ghost did this for 3 weeks, he would spend almost 2 million just to keep the baby dragon alive until he could find the doctor, if he exists, that is. Chapter 144. Making the Royal Land his next destination. Michael left Aragoth before asking Olivia to send a message to the Sunrise sect about his sudden departure. This time Michael didn't mount the Pegasus but used his flying sword to soar through the skies with Gaia. Each and every second mattered to Michael. While on his way to the royal land, he tried to probe the system about a cure for the baby dragon, but the heartless system remained silent, no matter how desperate he was to save his baby dragon. Although the system bailed on him when he needed it the most, he somewhat felt the system had no choice but to ignore him. He missed the snarky comments, the little interactions with this greedy system. He hoped the badass system would return to its normal state soon. Good thing he met Oliva at the time when the baby dragon fell ill, or he would have been clueless about how to save the scaly bastard. Surprisingly, Gaia took turns in cradling and caring for her frenemy. He could tell that she's missing the baby dragon despite the pointless enmity between them. Her motherly instincts kicked in, making her worry about the baby dragon. Even after houses of non-stop flying, she only spoke a couple of times with him. The rest of the time, she cleaned the blood off the dragon and gently poured healing potion into its mouth as well as applied the potion on its grayish scale. "Well, save you, Dickie, I promise." When Michael was looking at the distant sky, she whispered in the dragon's ear. She then gently kissed him on the head. "Hoo!" The baby dragon startled her by letting out a weak hoo. "Human, look!" He stopped flying after the sudden shout came from behind. He turned back to see the baby dragon lying in her hands with slightly opened eyes. Michael came to the baby dragon with a loving smile on his face. "Keep fighting, champ. Well, cure you." He too put a gentle kiss on the dragon's head. The three of them hovered in the sky like a family. She cradled the dragon like he was her baby while Michael was the big daddy of this small family. He wanted to cherish this relationship with her and the baby dragon. No matter how strong he became, these two would always be his family. If anyone tries to even harm a single hair on their body, he would massacre their entire bloodline. The fire of healing the baby dragon burned brighter and hotter within their hearts as they resumed flying towards the royal land where the emperor resides. Both of them continued to fly, stopping only to replenish the arch-energy in their body. Even Michelle wasn't an exception to this. During these small breaks, she did not eat anything, not even a biscuit. This showed how serious she was. At least something good came out of all this, Michael thought, looking at her cradling the baby dragon. After all, there was no real reason for them to fight in the first place. He was a baby while she was a fully grown adult. They didn't have to carry the torch of enmity between the two races. The baby dragon was acting on his instincts. Gaia, on the other hand, just hated Dragon for no good reason, but he could tell that she's changing. At least she would no longer want him dead. Eventually, after traveling for 5 continuous days, they saw the outskirts of a buzzing city surrounded by gigantic walls. Outside the walls, lush green fields, wheat fields that looked like golden blankets, crisscrossing rivers, and small yet charming houses filled the land. What made the kingdom look extremely vibrant and majestic was the ocean behind it. The rising sun painted the blue ocean and the walls with its golden rays, making the city within the walls look like a city made of gold. However, Michael was not in the mood to bask in the beauty. He wanted to get into the city and began searching for this so-called doctor. Flying is prohibited in this kingdom. We have to walk. Time was in the essence, but they had no choice. They descended to land on a stone-paved road. Lines of fancy carriages with various flags on top of them, groups of people, and merchant carriages moved towards the gigantic main gate made of silvery metal. The two of them barely attracted any attention as many cultivators like them descended when they reached the outskirts to comply with the no-flying rule. Michael hated to wait in the line behind all these carriages, yet he could not do anything. He might be a mighty existence in the river town, but here, he was like a small fish. He realized this factor after noticing numerous core formation cultivators going in and coming out of the city. While moving at a snail's pace, Michael noticed shrieks and cries coming from the merchant carriage in front of him. He looked through the door crack to see green humanoid creatures and vaguely saw a few human faces. "Slave traders." Looking at the curiosity on his face, Gaia whispered. "And those are goblins, nasty creatures," she growled. Since he could do nothing but wait patiently, he decided to ponder more about these slave traders. If he created a list of disgusting things that needed to be gotten rid of, slave traders would definitely hit the top. "Tell me about these slave traders. Can we buy elves?" "Where did you get that idea?" His question made her raise brows. "No, you can't. Enslaving another race is forbidden by the church and the guardians." Michael was confused. If enslaving was forbidden, what the heck is happening in front of him? Those are crooks and outlaws, human. Those goblins were probably banished from their tribe for their crimes, while those humans may be rapists, murderers, or both. When they commit a crime punishable by death, some kings would give them two choices: death or enslavement. Many would choose the first, but some prefer to live as a slave than die as a free soul. And you, do you have an elf fetish? She pinched him hard on the shoulder. It was not a question but rather a warning. Nope, he shook his head. So does this rule apply to every kingdom in this continent? Michael asked while running the spot she mercilessly pinched him. Pretty much yes. In some kingdoms in Azer continent, however, give slaves the option to become a gladiator in arenas for the pleasure of nobles. Gladiators? How could Michael not know who gladiators are? The mere mention of the word gladiators brought back the sweet memories of many TV shows and movies he watched. Each and every gladiator was a badass. Of course, not anyone can become a gladiator. A rich noble should first decide to buy the slaves and train them in their own school of gladiators. Survive long enough in the arena, a gladiator could get the glory, gold, and even freedom, but I never heard of a gladiator who survived the arena to earn freedom from their masters. At this moment, Michael wanted to go to one of the kingdoms that have arenas and gladiators. If he could buy a small army of gladiators somehow, he would become unstoppable in the future. The Dark Lord could definitely use the gladiators to his advantage. State your purpose of visiting the royal land. Eventually Michael was a couple of carriages behind to enter the city within the walls. I'm a humble merchant, Sir Guard, and am here to deliver the goods ordered by His Royal Highness. The second dash, go. The head guard immediately let in the slave trader in front of Michael. The guard did not ask any further questions as he opened the gates while Michael stepped forward to meet the guard. State your purpose of visiting the royal guard. The head guard, who clad in full iron plane armor, asked Michael. This is our vacation period. 50 gold. Gaia was interjected by the guard. She didn't seem upset though, because she knew the guards had no time to listen to all their stories. Nodding her head, she quickly placed a pouch of coins in the guard's hand. Just by weighing the pouch in his hand, the guard guessed the amount inside. The guard behind the head guard gestured at them to enter through the small door beside the main gate. They were just too lazy and sluggish to welcome these travelers with any pleasantries. The inner city of Royal Land was built along the banks of a mighty river and was truly an architectural metropolis. The skyline was littered with impressive towers and majestic buildings made of marble, as well as stones that shone in the daylight, and more seemed to be on their way. Its charm was matched by the backdrop of pristine skies which have helped shape the city into what it is today. The city itself looked simply gorgeous. Many houses had pinewood rooftops, oakwood walls, and luscious gardens. The streets were paved with stones and filled with a buzzing crowd. Since Michael had no idea of where to find the doctor, he decided to find the place that's filled with rumors and actionable intel, an inn. Chapter 145. Placing the unconscious baby dragon inside his coat pocket, Michael walked along the bustling streets while looking for a tavern. Various shops including smithies, bakeries, bookshops, and other miscellaneous stores were opening their doors to start the business. If this was any other day, he would have entered one or two stores to check what they were selling, but today, his sole focus was to gather any information he could about the doctor and save the baby dragon. Look, over there. While he was navigating through the labyrinth of streets, Gaia pointed at a name board that had the name Old Ship Tavern written on it. From the outside, the tavern looked cheerful, clean, and modest. Small stones and intricate stone carvings made up most of the building's outer structure. It was near impossible to see through the stained glass windows, but the entertainment from within can be felt outside. As they entered the tavern through the heavily used, metal door, they were welcomed by excitement and clapping hands. The bartender was a red-haired middle-aged woman who was clearly buried in orders but still managed to welcome them with a wave. It was as enchanting inside as it was on the outside. Squared, stone beams supported the upper floor and the large candles attached to them. The walls were littered with so many different memorabilia. The tavern itself was packed. Travelers like them seemed to be the primary clientele here, which was often a good sign. Several long tables were occupied by what must be separate groups who have bonded over great food and conversation. The other, Smaller tables were also occupied by people who were probably starting to reach the point of having drunk too much, though nobody seemed to mind. Even most of the stools at the bar were occupied, though none of them looked to be minding more company. The air inside the tavern was filled with freshly baked bread, boots, and ale. On the other side of the large tables, people, mostly drunks, were dancing and singing along with the band of bards. Michael and Gaia managed to find stools before the bartender. "What can I get you too?" The bartender woman finished serving the others and came to Michael. Information. Michael slid a gold coin toward the woman. He did not waste any time exchanging pleasantries given the dire situation. "And water with lime if you have any," Gaia ordered. Since Michael didn't drink any liquors, she also stopped drinking them, and instead, she got used to just hot water with lime, just like him. Putting the gold coin into her pouch hanging on her hip, she grinned brightly. "What do you want to know, young master?" She changed the way she addressed him because of the gold coin. Obviously, a commoner or a typical adventurer wouldn't just give a gold coin just like that. "Tell me everything you know about the doctor." "Another one." The man behind Michael snickered, taking a long sip from his mug. "Ignore that one, young master." The bartender glared at the man, wordlessly telling him to mind his own business. "Well, young master, no one know much about the doctor, but I'll tell you what I heard about the doctor. It might be just a hogwash or God's honest words. Even if they were just hogwash, Michael had no choice but to listen to them. At the moment, Michael and Gaia were waiting in a dark alley between two large buildings. Back at the inn, the bartender told them everything she knew and heard about the doctor. Most of what she told them seemed outright exaggeration or simply lies spewed by some drunkards, because who would believe an angel with pure white wings came from the sky and healed a drunk in the alleyway? In one story the bartender told them, the doctor brought a dead man back from death. Although Michael was desperate, even he couldn't believe that one could bring the dead back to life unless that person has a system that's fully upgraded, which was impossible. However, the conversation with the bartender was not all waste, as Michael got the names of everyone who's claiming that they were healed by the doctor. For another extra 5 gold coins, the bartender gave the names and where to find most of them. While they were waiting in the dark alley, a back door of the building left to Michael opened vaguely, revealing a figure of an old man. Gaia stepped towards the old man with no expression on her face. Despite the darkness in the alleyway and the old man's age, he grinned instantly, looking at the young girl walking towards him. "Are you lost, little girl?" Boom. In a flash, Gaia's hand grabbed the old man by his neck, slamming the old man against the wall. "Answer my questions," or she placed a dagger on the old man's wrinkly throat. Anything. The old man got his hangover cure just like that. "What do you know about the doctor?" asked Gaia. The old man shuddered to look at the vertical slit pupils which resembled the eyes of a venomous snake glowing in the dark. "Where and when did you meet him?" Michael asked the old man with a soothing voice to calm the old man down a bit. Near the orphanage. I saw someone healing an orphan." In the story the bartender told them, it was this old man who got healed by the doctor, not an orphan. "Tell me what he looked like?" Gaia still had her dagger touching the old man's throat while asking, "I didn't see his face." She instantly saw the old man withholding something by sensing the slight change in his voice. She had dealt with politicians and powerful cultivators ever since she was born, so she could find out when a commoner like the old man was lying to her face. "You don't want to hold back anything, trust me," she said. This time her voice was colder. "I heard music." "What kind of music?" asked Gaia. Like. Ding. Michael didn't know whether to laugh or slap this old man for his music knowledge. Knock him out and threw him the dumpster. Chodek. The old man's world completely became dark before he could even raise a finger. Just as he told her, she knocked the old man and threw him into the nearby dumpster. Next one, after many days, only now his lips slightly curved upwards because finally he might have gotten an actual lead to finding the doctor. "I heard a sound, music, heavenly music, soul-soothing tune. I've never heard of something more beautiful." After the old man, both of them continued to interrogate the people who claimed to have been healed by the doctor. They used violence for some and gold coins for some, but the end result was the same. Everyone had heard some kind of music coming from the doctor. Afterward, Michael brought all of them to a place where the nobles of the royal land gathered to listen to music. It cost him 2,000 gold coins just to enter and stay for an hour. The garden he was walking through was filled with colorful flowers, exquisite fountains, delicately crafted benches for the nobles to sit, and the beautiful status of various musical instruments such as violin, zither, veena, etc. The deeper he walked into the garden, the louder the music became. Michael could understand why the nobles spent so many coins here, as even he felt refreshed by hearing the soul-soothing music in the air. But he was here neither to enjoy the scenery nor listen to this soul-soothing music. He was here to find out what kind of music these people behind him heard. By identifying the musical instrument the doctor used, he would be one step closer to finding him. Of course, there was a possibility that the doctor didn't use any kind of musical instruments and they all just heard some kind of magical vibrations, but Michael wanted to stay positive for the sake of his baby dragon. Just as he was crossing by a statue of the musical instrument veena, the sweet melody of a veena being played could be heard in a nearby pavilion. Almost as if the music had an enchanting ability, the moment anyone heard this melody would feel as if their heartstrings were resonating along with the veena. That's it. It's the same. Few of the people behind Michael, including the old man who got knocked off by Gaia, shouted. Some seemed relieved as they could finally be free from these two youngsters. The moment Michael and Gaia heard the sound of the veena and the people behind them, they stopped walking and turned to look toward the source. They could only see a woman wearing a red-colored glistening robe with her back facing them in the pavilion. Her jade-white fingers could be seen dancing along the strings of the veena as the sweet melodies rang throughout the area. Few nobles sat on the bench near her, eyes closed, submerged in the ocean of music. Walking toward the pavilion, Michael quickly approached the back of the red-robed woman. Her black hair hung behind her shoulders down to her back. A white veil covered her face so that he couldn't see her appearance. The part of the girl's face that could be seen could only be described as a stunning beauty. In a flash, she finished playing the ballad and turned to look at him. "Does my lord enjoy the sound of the veena as well?" The girl spoke with a sweet, gentle voice, almost too gentle as if one wasn't strong enough, then they would be enchanted after hearing her voice. With a light smile, he replied, "The second sister's ability with the veena is quite amazing. Although I would love to sit and listen to you playing, I have a life to save, so can you please answer my question?" The girl first seemed puzzled by Michael's words, but soon, she smiled sweetly, speaking with a gentle voice. "I thank the Lord for his praise and please, ask away, anything to save a life." He continued to smile at her, then pointing his fingers at the people behind him, he asked while carefully noticing her facial expressions, "Miss, have you met any of them before? They say they heard a piece of music that soothed their soul and surprisingly healed their wounds." The girl looked all of them who were in ragged clothes one more time before shaking her head. "No, Lord, I have never met them, but what they told you is true. A piece of music that can heal. Only one who achieved the realm of perfection in veena could do that." As far as Michael and Gaia could tell, the girl was not lying. The girl continued, "I am quite fond of the four arts and studied them studiously when I was young, but I am still far from the realm of perfection. While the sounds of my veena are quite soothing, it was mostly because of the veena itself." The girl's delicate fingers stroked a string on the veena as she muttered, "Although this veena is a copy of the angel's veena, it uses a variety of rare parts, including the soul energy of the one who wields the angel's veena, Layla Alden. If one could have done what you said, it would be her, but I doubt she left the Rainbow Islands and came here to heal them." Her last words contained a hint of scowl as she had already whiffed a smell of ale coming from some of them in the group. She put it mildly to sound respectful, but she seriously doubted that Layla Alden, the wielder of Angel's veena, gave the blessing of hearing the sound of Angel's veena to these drunkards who weren't even worthy of breathing the same air as Layla Alden does. "Angel's veena? Layla Alden?" Michael asked with confusion while Gaia seemed like she knew the person the girl was talking about. Chapter 146, If I want to meet this Layla Alden, where do I go, miss? The girl shook her head. No one can meet Lady Alden whenever they wish, Lord, even the Emperor himself yearning to get that heavenly blessing. Well, see about that. Gaia didn't like all these exaggerations about Layla. For Gaia, this Layla woman was just another overrated cultivator in the Elon continent. Thank you for everything, miss. Michael said, nodding before leaving the garden with Gaia. They chased away the group of people as Michael saw no use in keeping them around. We are going to Rainbow Islands. She was determined to save the baby dragon. Nothing would stop them from doing so. Where is it? In the endless ocean. We have to find a portal. Although it won't let us travel into the Rainbow Islands domain, we can reach the border. Flying would take at least 4 weeks. We don't have that time, she explained, recalling everything she knew about Royal Land to find a portal. The devil has struck again. The devil has struck again. The devil has struck again. Just as they were in deep thinking, their train of thoughts was stopped by a panicked voice. They turned their head towards the voice's direction to see a young man who looked pale screaming as loud as he could, "Run away! The devil has struck again!" The young man kept screaming while the people who were strolling on the streets quickly covered in fear. "Hide! Hide inside your homes! Lucifer has struck again!" Michael's body went rigid after hearing the young man screaming the name Lucifer. Both of them creased their brows, looking at each other confused. "What's going on here?" Michael asked as he walked in the direction of the young man. The previously crowded alleyway now became grim. When he was just about to grab the young man in question, he saw a group of soldiers rushing towards something. Michael and Gaia ignored the screaming young man and followed the soldiers to get some answers. Getting out of the alleyway, they stepped into the main street, which was paved with grayish stones. While many people ran in the opposite direction of the soldiers, Michael followed the soldiers behind with a few other daredevils. The more they followed the soldiers, the more chaos and soldiers they witnessed in the streets of Royal Land. Soon, they reached the town square. In the middle of the square, a group of soldiers clad in full iron plate armor formed a line, preventing the citizens from seeing the horror behind them. The smell of fresh blood permeated the square. Through the gaps in the crowd before him, he noticed the fountain in the square was painted splashes of red. "What's happening?" Michael asked an old woman in front of him to know more about what's going on here. "It's the devil, young man. It has killed yet again." The old woman was too focused on craning her neck to see through the crowd as she didn't even look at Michael while speaking. "Yet again?" "Yeah, this is the devil's 4th victim. I don't know who the troubled soul he took this time." The old woman held onto the pendant on her chest. "He knew she's praying to the sun god. Look above, the holy guards are here." Hearing the sudden rise in the commission, Michael looked at the sky above the town square to see a group of 6 figures descended. All of them were covered in pure white shining armor with golden edges. Each of them had a different weapon such as sword, spear, bow, staff, and even a huge battle axe. Their armors had a symbol of the sun painted on their chest plate, indicating their branch in the church. However, it wasn't their shiny armor or flashy weapons that made Michael arch his brows. It was their cultivation level. The leading figure, who had a sword on the side, was a core strengthening level 1 warrior. The rest of them were level 10 core formation warriors. This group alone showed Michael the power of the church. "Get them all out of here," a female voice came from the core strengthening warrior. The guards immediately tensed up, pushing the crowd further and further away from the crime scene. "You can't hide the truth from us forever. We need to know what's going on. Are our children safe? When are you going to catch that bastard? Who is the victim? We demand answers." The people weren't a pushover. They resisted the soldiers, shouting at the holy guards and the soldiers. The crowd became restless. While they were protesting and trying to turn this into a riot, Michael glared at Gaia, wordlessly telling her to come with him. "Someone is copycatting us." When they put enough distance from the holy guards, Gaia said, before forming an invisible barrier around them to prevent anyone from eavesdropping on them. "I expected this, but not this soon. Not here." Michael's voice was calm, yet deep down, his voice had a hint of murderous intent to it. "You need to stay here and clean up this mess before that copycat ruins our plans." "What?" she growled, showing her disagreement. She wanted to save the baby dragon more than anything. Although at first, she hated the baby dragon, when she thought about everything, she realized that the baby dragon was like a family to Ghost, which made the baby dragon a family to her. After reaching immortality, she would have to spend eternity with Ghost and the baby dragon. When the whole world turns against them, they have to have each other's back. Compared to that, the hostility between the Nagas and dragons seemed so puny and negligible to her. Besides, deep down, she knew the baby dragon would do the same to her if she was in his state. Remember, Gaia, I didn't create Lucifer to only spread fear, I created him to be the devil who punishes evil. Only then people would believe that anyone Lucifer kills is an evil person. If we let this copycat run around killing innocents, it would ruin our entire plan. Michael knew she wanted to be there when he cures the baby dragon. He too wanted to have her beside him, but this copycat changed everything. She clenched her fist. Fuck it, he'll stay here. She could understand that what Michael had said was true, and she knew that he needs her here. Besides, you're a lot stronger than me now. In case there's a fight with the Holy Guards, you would be able to at the very least escape. Yes, system, can you at least give me a teleportation scroll that would get me to Rainbow Islands or closer to them? He had no reply from the system. He was just about to close the interface when he heard the familiar voice again. 4,000 badass points. Take it. He could swear that he sensed the excitement in the system's voice, which went back to the old robotic voice before he upgraded it to level 3. For now, he knew he won't get any answers from the system, so he just retrieved the teleportation scroll he just bought from the system. We need to find a portal, Gaia said when he exited the system. No need, since Michael couldn't reveal the fact that he just bought the scroll from the system, he pretended to draw symbols on the scroll. With the help of the system, the ordinary-looking scroll in his hand slowly began to glow as he was drawing symbols on them. What are you doing? Creating a teleportation scroll. I can't create them often as it would take a toll on my mental health, but I had to use this skill this time. She would have stopped him if she had a better way, but time was on the essence, and this seemed to be the only way to save the traveling time. Keeping the scroll in his hand, Michael moved further into the dark alley. Happy hunting, he said before tearing the scroll. A golden light instantly wrapped around his body. If you can't save Dickie, don't come back, she said, looking at the faint smile on his face before the golden light disappeared from her sight along with him. Return to me safely, human. I have a confession to make, as she said. She retrieved the love potions she took from the batch he brewed. She looked at the 2 potions one last time before crushing them to oblivion. During their trip to Royal Land, she felt her feelings for him had indeed grown stronger. Initially, she wanted to test herself using the love potion, but now, she decided to confess to him because she couldn't imagine a life with someone else. Gaia was positive that he feels the same way about her, only, he didn't seem to make the first move, so she took the matter into her own hands. The moment he comes back, she would drag him somewhere alone and confess her feelings. For now, I need to find that copycatting fuck and flay him alive. She put her hood on before leaving the dark alley with a resolute to kill the fake Lucifer. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.